Fantastic. Okay, stop. And hey, good morning, everyone. Can you hear as well on Zoom? Just making sure.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, fantastic. Good morning, Onur. Okay, so I have the honor to start this workshop this morning. Good morning. Both Maki and Fatih have appointments until 10:30, and they will both join us soon. So we are very, very happy to welcome Onur Ferhat this morning. And we're really, really happy, Onur, that you could do this workshop for us today. So Onur is a computer engineer, and he obtained his PhD at the Autonomous University of Barcelona on online eye tracking. And we're really, really happy Fatih got in touch with him, and he prepared several scripts already for the AcqVA group, and he's gonna tell us more about this today, right? So Onur, I think the floor is already yours. Feel free to share your screen and to add whatever else you would like to add. And we're
okay, thank you very much for the introduction. Sorry, can you see the screen? No.
Do you want us to interrupt you with questions in between, or do you want to stop at some point? How would
yeah,
you?
exactly. So like I try to understand the level of like technical knowledge that you have, but I guess like it will be quite beginner level. So maybe like if I'm going into too much detail, or maybe if it sounds complicated, just interrupt me also. And yeah, if you have any doubts, like I know that like this may be a little bit technical in some cases, because you'll have to maybe copy and paste and modify some code. But yeah, I will try to make it as simple as possible. But yeah, if you have any doubts, just stop me at any moment.
Okay, fantastic. And we're several people sitting here in the room together, and then there are several people on Zoom, and so it'll be interactive on different levels.
Okay.
All right. Good. Thank you, Onur.
I will stop my camera so that the connection isn't flaky. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, like I think there's not much to add. Like I finished my PhD maybe 4 years ago, and since then I'm back to my career as a software developer. And yeah, Fatih contacted me last year for these projects because like I already had experience with building eye trackers. So one information is that I never used actually a regular eye tracker as you are doing in your experiments, but I built the software for these eye trackers, or eye trackers with just webcams in my thesis. So yeah, like as you also said, like we prepared some scripts already for some experiments, and now this one is like kind of a reorganized so that like it's more generic, and you can use this script in theory for building your own experiments without knowing much about programming. So I already sent you some links in the email that Maki had sent to all of you. So one of those links is this this repository on github.com, which is where the code is hosted at the moment. I guess at some point I will transfer the ownership of this to the AcqVA group, or maybe the institution, I don't know. So you can access this on your computer, I guess, if you have access to it. And maybe, I don't know, here, like there's also a README, like explaining what I'm going to explain, but maybe, I don't know, there's something missing in this information. So still, we will go over everything and try to do it step by step, and yeah, hopefully come to a final product. And this repository is organized in a way to make it easier for you to take this code and move it to Gorilla for your experiments. We will come to that, but apart from that, we have some examples already in this folder. And also, like, for example, we have some images for this sample experiment, like image 1, 2, 3, and some audio files and some data files, etc. And apart from that, the code that I prepared and some other external code is located here in the resources. So we'll come to this JS site library in a minute. And apart from that, yeah, some other small things here for translations, etc. So I'm sure you are mostly familiar with Gorilla, but yeah, I don't know, just in case, like it's an online place for, I don't know, creating experiments. I think for you, it makes it very easy to create, I don't know, screens and buttons and add images, etc. But also like it has this functionality of creating some code components so that you have a lot more control. And we will use that for implementing this part of eye tracking. And to make it easier for us, like we are going to make use of this library called JS-Psych. So it gives you, like it's a JavaScript library for making it easier to create these experiments. So basically what you do is like you create a timeline of experiment. For example, you say that first the subject has to respond to this question, or then they have to do this step, etc. So it's a little bit more organized with this one. And the next link that I sent was a tutorial for JavaScript programming language that, I don't know, you don't have to be expert, you don't have even, I don't know, need to know it too much, but maybe if you are interested, you can check this tutorial a little bit, not too much, but maybe just the first few parts, so that at least you know how to read JavaScript, and maybe when you are just cutting and pasting and modifying, you don't have problems. And apart from that, I sent a link to a text editor for developers, because normally, for example, in, I don't know, in Windows, there's Notepad, in Mac OS, there's TextEdit, but like these are not good enough to understand like the structure of the code. For example, let me show you, like if you open this one, like a JavaScript file in the regular text editor, you see something like this. And this doesn't look very nice because you don't understand if you are doing any error, if there's anything. But if you open it in a like developer's notebook, text editor, let's say, you have all these like syntax highlights, like colors, and yeah, you can understand, for example, if there is any error at all. So this will make it easier. For example, if you miss something, generally it warns you about it. And here too, if you make any mistake, it makes it easier to understand what's going on. Okay. So if you prefer, you can install it on your machine, and even for non-programming use, I think it's quite nice. And apart from that, there will be a little bit more advanced thing here, because like if you want to test these experiments locally in your computer without uploading it to Gorilla, you need to set up a web server on your machine, but it's not a big deal. But yeah, like we will come to that, and I will maybe show you how to set it up on your computer, just in case. Okay, so yeah, if you want to start with this one, first I will go over like some getting started steps locally, so that first like we can download this one, all this code. So yeah, like the download link is here in the code download zip link. So this is the first step. And when you download it, where's this one? Okay, I'll move it to my desktop. So you have to extract it with your, like with a zip extractor, and then you have the file here. Okay, let me see. Then you can open it in Sublime Text. Maybe let me show it to you here. So actually you can open an entire folder with this editor. So basically I will go to my desktop and open this folder. And you have a sidebar here if you want to see the files, or if it's not visible by default, you can hide and show it. And yeah, basically you will have this structure here. Okay. So yeah, so let's see. So as I said, like we already have some examples here, but let's see what happens when we open it directly by double clicking. This won't work because, yeah, like as you said, it just says, yeah, like the experiment is finished whenever you click one thing. And now, like to understand what's going on, like you have to enter the developer world. in Chrome, like you can just right click on this page and go to the inspect menu, which takes you to the developer land, let's say. And here you can understand what's going on in the console part. And here you see that like there are some already errors, which are in red, and it's saying that basically like it cannot access the translations, it cannot access the data file, etc. So this won't work by just double clicking. That's why we need to have a web server on our machine. So now I won't explain how to install it, how to start it, etc. But I will just start it on my machine. So yeah, with this command, I will start a web server on my machine so that now I can just go to this URL and it will load the experiment. But this time it's not directly double clicking the file, but as you see, it's like a URL that you see on regular websites, let's say. So now if I click, so let's first go over the experiment, what it does. So this is just, I don't know, like imagine that this is like an explanation for your experiment and the subject just clicks here to begin. And you may not see the light of my webcam, but now it's starting, you can see it here. It's starting to access the webcam. And the first step is to, I don't know, have the subject center their face on the webcam, because otherwise if they are sitting in an off angle, like it's really harder, like a lot harder to have a good eye tracking. So like they have to be facing the camera from the front. So this is another part when you are designing your experiment. You have to make it clear. For example, here in these instructions, we are trying to do that. You have to make it clear for the subject that like the camera shouldn't be in an off angle. It should be either at the top or at the bottom of the screen, and they have to stand still during the experiment. So like once they calibrate, they cannot just move around all the time. So they have to keep still because. And here you see this green rectangle, green square, which means that whether it's centered enough or not, like if they are not sitting correctly, it won't let them continue actually. So this button will be blocked. So once we are centered, we can continue, and now the calibration starts. So like the calibration, I think is similar to what you have in the eye trackers you are using. So basically they will have to double click or click it several times. So let me finish this thing. Yes, so now the calibration is done and we have to see if it's actually correct because the subject may not have paid attention, etc. So now we just say click to begin and I have to look at this yellow dot for like a few seconds while the eye tracker is calculating some kind of accuracy value. And now I don't think that you can hear it, but like this is actually playing some sound for me. And the experiment has already started. So now I can just, while listening to an audio file, I can just click on these. And yeah, as you see that like this is like marked as my selection. So yeah, that's it. And then like as the experiment can take several minutes, you can configure this tool so that like it can recalibrate every, I don't know, 3, 5, 10 minutes or after every 10 trials, let's say. So there are different options for control all this. It was kind of the basic overview of the library. And if you want, we can try to customize it now. So let me open up my editor. It's here. So we have like these examples here explaining like different things, like different options, like different calibration modes, different calibration points, etc. But there's also this template file, which doesn't have any extra options and which gives you some tasks, let's say. So yes, let's go over these things. First, again, like let's talk about the structure of the repository or of the code base. In Gorilla, like you have resources, which are the code files, generally like the JavaScript files and other libraries and some HTML code, etc. So these are all here. And also you have the stimuli. Here, like you see two different places because like one is used by the example code because like these are not part of the library, but they are part of these examples that I created here. And these are the general things like there's a sound check and translations. So basically you just need to, let's see how to first start with this. Yeah, maybe we can start with the translations. So yeah, I'm not sure if you are mostly doing your experiments in English or maybe you are translating to your local language, I don't know, Turkish or Chinese or another language. So I've grouped all the translations here. So like whenever there is a button called OK on the screen, you can customize it here. So for example, if this instead of OK, it was like tamam for Turkish, you would have to just come here, change the translations, and that's it. But just one thing to take into account is that like you shouldn't translate these parts, like these are called the keys, but you should translate the values. So only the right-hand side, okay? And again, like if you do anything wrong, for example, if you just miss a comma or the closing quotes, you will again see some kind of error in this case, okay? And if you also same for here, probably, it doesn't show you anything, but yeah. So yeah, like first you can start with the translations if that's, I don't know, if you already know what you want to put here, if you know the language that you're going to use, and just save it here. And this translations file exists in two different places. So just make sure that like once you translate one of them, you copy it to the other one because as I said, like there is a small difference between the two. So once you change the translations, you can now start with the, sorry, I have to enter into do not disturb mode. Yeah. So let me see. Yeah. Once you have your translations, you have to prepare your stimuli, like which are the audio files that you will make the subject listen to during the experiment, and also the images. So like these are, I don't know, very short audio files that I downloaded from Wikipedia. So just for this sample experiment, and also some images to show side by side to the subject. Okay. And once you have these files prepared, so like just to make sure like the audio has to be in MP3 format, because like browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, they cannot reproduce all types of audio files. Maybe WAV could work, but I'm not sure. That's I don't know. Those files are generally bigger, so the recommended one is MP3s. And apart from that, yeah, the images are better in JPEG or PNG formats. And once you have your stimuli copied to this location, you have to create your data file. So what's a data file? There are some examples already here. So we have this one, data to images, data to images, depending on how many images you want to show to the user. So basically, like there are some required fields in this data file. So I'm sure that you are all familiar with CSV formats. So basically you can edit this one in your Excel file, or let me open up my Excel alternative here. I don't remember the main one. Sorry, I don't use this program that often.
Can we ask you
numbers? Yeah.
Program are you working in right now? We just discussed this, Onur, and maybe this should be obvious, but since it looks different when we look at GitHub.
Yeah. GitHub, you mean like The code itself, you mean, or?
Yes, we have to go here too.
I couldn't hear the last part.
Okay. It's okay. It was already, we were just asking what it was called, and it's Sublime that you're working in right now, right?
Exactly, yeah. So you
do.
can always see the application here. It's the Sublime text, the editor that I showed you.
Okay.
So if you want to create a new one, you can just create like here a new file. And what you need is that like in the GitHub also, like I explained, like what are the necessary fields for this data file. So I will show it side by side. Okay, so like here we have this new file, or I can also open this one, a blank. Okay. So let me close this formatting. So like what we need is an ID column, and then like the number of the picture fields. Yeah, this is kind of auto-correcting and it's not making it easy for me. No, I think this is not going to be very easy, but anyway. So like if you are going to, for example, show just a single image to the subject, you can just add a picture one column and that's it. But if you, for example, want to show two images side by side, you have picture one, picture two. And Maki, for example, had like 3 image experiment. So in that case, it would go up to picture 3, okay? So right now the library only supports up to 3 images, and maybe we can add support for 4 images, like on each corner of the screen, but for now it's just 3, up to 3. So yeah, like you have to add these, picture 1, picture 2, picture 3, and then there's this audio column. Okay, this is the audio file that you want to add or make the subject listen to. So in this case, for example, let me open the stimuli, the images and audio here. And here, let's create it side by side. So this ID field should be unique for your trials. So it could be just number 1, number 2, number 3, etc. But you could also give it any other unique name, like I don't know, XYZ1 or whatever. And apart from that, now like it's the picture fields. So now we'll just put the names of these images. So let's say that in the first trial, we want to show image 1 and image 2 side by side. And yeah, let me remove this picture 3 field for now, so that it only has like 2 pictures side by side. And then there's this audio field. For the audio, I will just put this one. Okay. So this means that like we will show the image 1 on the left-hand side and image 2 on the right-hand side of the screen. And the subject will listen to audio 1 during the experiment, during that trial. And then, yeah, like you have to keep filling this up. In the second trial, it will be image 2 and image 3, while they are listening to audio 2. And in the third trial, image 3 JPEG, image 4 JPEG, and they will listen to the third audio file. Okay, so these are the basic fields. So at least it has to have the ID and some picture fields and an audio field. But if you want to add any other thing, for example, in these examples that we have, like I think I got the structure from Fatih's experiment. So he had some fields like condition, counterbalance, block, etc., which were used to shuffling and randomizing, etc. So you can add anything you want. So here, I don't know. You can add whatever you want and log 1, 2, 3. Okay. So this is good enough. Like this already has more than what we need. And what you have to do is you have to export this as a CSV file. So in Excel, I guess like you have the same option, but just export to CSV. That's it. And let's go to this folder that we created. For now, it will be under examples stimuli right here. Okay. So I've created the data file and I just saved it as a CSV. So now we can go to Sublime Text again and try to see it. Let's see. So the data file is here. But again, yeah, so the editor that I used added some extra commas here. So I guess I have to clean them up. So I will just remove this one. I'll remove this extra commas just in case. And that's more or less it. Yeah, Sublime Text can just show you that pop-up saying that you may buy the program, but it's free. So it's just annoying a little bit. Nothing else. So yeah, now we have the data file already in place. So it's all good. And what we can do is we can go back to our template file. And here I left you a to-do item. So whenever you see any to-do, it's something that you have to do, like just to get your experiment going. So it says that change your data location. But as we already named our data file data.csv, it's just matches, so we don't have to do this anymore. Okay, that's also finished. And here you have another to-do item, but for now, let's just skip it. And the rest is already doing the necessary things. So basically, it's just preparing the experiment using the utilities that I provide. And the rest is just some JavaScript operations. And that's it. Okay, so let's go and try this one. I will switch back to Chrome. And now, like instead of the example1 file, because previously we were checking this example file, we will go to the template file. Actually, you can change the name of the template file, but for now, let's stick to it. So template.html. So yeah, now like here, we just, let me show it side by side. So as I said, like here, there are some, as we talk, like JS type, what it does is like it creates a timeline of different trials, like different steps that the subject has to carry out. So in this case, for example, the first step is just showing an HTML page and getting a button response. So this is, imagine that if you want to put some instructions, you can just put it here and you can just customize the choices, the buttons that the user has to click. For example, you could add here some, I don't know, terms and conditions, and they can accept or reject or whatever. And that's more or less it. Yes. So I will switch back to Chrome and I will just click to begin this one. As you see, again, like it's accessing the webcam already. And I will have to go through the calibration again. So yeah, my face is centered. And yeah, I have to go through this process. It will take a short while, but later on I will show you how to make this, I don't know, easier or harder for your subjects. Because it's like the calibration accuracy depends on the, like the eye tracking accuracy depends on the calibration. And if you do a longer and better calibration, it helps definitely. So now I am validating it. Yeah, I have to concentrate and that's it. So it's validated already. But maybe there's something wrong because now I should have seen the images. So like if there's anything wrong in these experiments, again, like you have to right click on Chrome page and do an inspect. So let's see, maybe I did something wrong. And if you go to console, you can see some errors here. Let's see, resources, validate single point. Okay, there are some errors. Let me go to this template file that we had. So yeah, it's basically telling me that it can't find some files. Okay, because it's a copy and paste mistake For example, like here, you only have to focus on the red errors here. It says that like it cannot find this file. And if you check the name of the file, there are some weird characters here, which means that actually like there are these extra characters that I copied and pasted last night without checking correctly. And this is the same error. And there's also something called undefined. We'll come to that. And audio file. Okay, so yeah, this was the first mistake. So like this file was not correct. But anyway, apart from that, I think another error was that like this data file, as the numbers application was auto-correcting me, like it's made these first characters uppercase, but they have to be lowercase, I guess. And you can check this by comparing against the provided data files. Okay, so if you do anything wrong and if you are not sure, just try to compare them with this one. In Sublime Text, you can also see files side by side, so you can have split view. Split view. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't like this. View layouts here. Sorry. Like, so you can change the layout from the view menu in 2 columns. And yeah. So now we have the 2 files side by side, and you can see that like we had the picture 1 and picture 2 in uppercase, and the audio file was in uppercase. Let's also make this lowercase just in case. Okay. So now this looks better. Let's go back to this thing and just refresh the page. And if you want, you can also keep this developer tools open so that like you see errors as they appear. So let's begin again for the calibration. I'll clear the warnings. Yes. So just to tell you again that like this is like totally uncustomized at the moment. So we will in a second come to customizations. So yeah, now let's start with the validation. Okay. Now you see that there are no errors, and here it says the calibration precision or accuracy was 50, and all is good. So yeah, now like the audio just played, and I have to do a selection between the 2 files. I'll choose this one, and then we are presented with this dot. So I have to click this one to switch to the next trial. Again, I hear the audio, which is going on for a few seconds. And then I have to choose between the 2 images. So
Onur?
we have this, sorry, yeah.
Onur, could you please show what the error was again for this one? Was it some like the CSV file error?
Yeah, the CSV file, yeah, let me show, like it was like this. So like, as you remember, in this application, it was auto-correcting me. So whenever I wrote picture 1, it was converting it to uppercase. So that was the issue. Like maybe I have to fix it on my side so that it doesn't affect you. But yeah, I will check it. So in theory, it shouldn't be a problem because I thought it was already normalized, but maybe it wasn't. So just to make sure, I just made it the same as this one. So all in lowercase. Okay.
Onur, can you hear us generally? If I talk,
Yeah, exactly. I hear very well.
I tried it from here earlier, and it was worked better if I came closer.
okay. Maybe talk a bit louder if you have questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I can totally hear you well. So yeah.
I don't know.
And as I said, like we have this yellow dot here because like during one trial, for example, the subject may just hit click on one of the images on the left or right side. And this is just to have their gaze centered before the next trial. So when they click it, you are sure that like they went back to the center of the screen. And you don't have any bias for the next trial. So again, it's the same. So this was, as you remember, the third trial that we had, and this is the last one. So I will just click on this one. This is finished, and then yeah, you can download the data in CSV or JSON. Okay, and then the experiment finishes. If you want, we can analyze the data that we have. I will open it up in this program again. So this is the output file of Gorilla, actually. So it's the same format. You have the response time, the stimulus, and the response, and the type of trial, some other information, the index of the trial. Here you can see the trial type. And here the most important for you is the eye tracking, which is your trials. So if you see that, like for example, it says the picture 1 here, picture 2 here, the ID field, the audio file, the condition, like these are the extra fields that we added to our data file, the condition and the block. So they are exactly copied to this output format. So if you have anything extra that you want to save for the trial, for example, if you want to save a special information for the first trial, you can edit another column here. So instead of condition block, you can just another my special info, and here write whatever it is. Okay. Same here, like you can do it, of course, from this Excel or other program that you are using. So whatever you enter there, whatever extra information you have, you will see it here. So we said that you have the ID, picture, audio, condition, block. And apart from that, we calculate some other things. The name of the image, because like here you see the image is actually a path to the stimuli. Here is just the name. And then there are some more technical information, which is kind of called a bounding box, which shows you where exactly on the screen this image was shown. Because one thing is that like you have eye tracking data, like the gaze data, which are like X and Y coordinates on the screen, but also you have to know where the images were. Because like if you say that like the subject was looking at X 100, Y 200, you have to know in your data analysis where this corresponds to. So you have to map these gaze points to the images, whether it's the right image or the left image, or whether it's the top left of the screen, etc. So you'll use this one for your data processing. And again, the picture 2 name, picture 2 bounding box, and some other information. So here you have the responses. So in this case, I collect the first image, which is the one on the left. I collect it after 15 seconds after the trial started. And then you have the WebGazer data, which is the big chunk of data. It tells you like this as a, let me show it to you. So it's a little bit slow, but sorry for this. I will just copy it. I will go to this web page, which formats it a little bit better. I forgot to send you this link, but I will just take a note so that you can also analyze this data a little bit. So here you basically copy your data. Like this is a special kind of data format called JSON. And if you hit process here, it gives you a better formatted view. So here it says that like you have a list of items, and each item has X, Y, mouse X, mouse Y, and T elements. So the T is the time of the trial, like time since the trial began. In some cases, it can return you minus, but I don't know why, but anyway, we can ignore this. The X is the gaze point, the X coordinate of the gaze point, and Y is the Y coordinate. And then we also record the mouse movements. So you have again the mouse X coordinate and mouse Y coordinate. So you can exactly know where the mouse of the subject was at any point of the trial and where the subject was looking. So generally the gaze is following the mouse. or the other way around, I'm not sure. But yeah, like at some point, for example, if you go towards the end of this file, probably the mouse and the gaze coordinates are getting closer to each other. So yeah, they're a little bit closer. So what are like the x coordinates are closer and mouse coordinates are closer. This means that like in the last moment of these data, the subject was actually kind of actually maybe not. Okay, just ignore what I just said. But yeah, like you have access to all this data and you will use it for your processing.
Onur,
Yeah,
can I ask a slightly technical
Definitely.
question about your gaze centering trial?
yeah, sure.
Unless you have something that you want to continue talking about right now.
No, just yeah, like interrupt
Yeah.
me whenever you want.
Thanks. So the gaze centering bit, I think that's a separate trial, is that correct? Or a separate?
It's a separate trial, exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure. No, it's not a separate trial yet. So for
Okay.
validation, it's a separate trial, but this one is still in eye tracking. But as soon as the trial finishes, like the images disappear, we just stop gaze tracking. So here, the last data that you have is just before the gaze centering.
Okay.
So you don't have to ignore that.
So what's the single dot validation trial for? How often?
So, yeah, the single dot validation. Yeah, this one is just after the calibrations.
Only.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
So okay,
here
so
you see that.
yeah. So the gaze centering is still part of the trial, and it's still actively sampling gaze data and
There is not
using the
actually
click
sampling.
to kind of update the model.
Yeah, for using the click for updating, but you won't see the gaze here. So like here in the WebGazer data, it should be already discarded. Like they should finish as soon as the experiment finishes. Actually, we can also maybe validate that. Let me go to this part. Maybe it's not. So I will have to check it because here it says that like this is in milliseconds. So here it says the last gaze data was in second 23. Okay. So here, from here, we can also this one. Here we can see that the subject actually clicked on the image at second 15.6. So it means that all the gaze data, maybe they're not ignored, like I wasn't 100% sure. All the gaze data coming after like second 15 and a half, it should be discarded.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, but the gaze centering, sorry, this is a pretty specific technical point that I want to sort out in my head. The gaze centering dot at the end of the trial is used covertly to
Calibrate.
update the model and to keep the calibration high.
Exactly.
That's
so
what
like
it's meant to
whenever
do.
the subject clicks anywhere, like on the images, etc., it keeps updating the gaze tracker.
No, I have a fairly specific reason for asking that, actually, because a couple of months ago, my colleague and I were playing around with this a little bit, and we were testing some participants by just running the experiment without any intermediate calibrations. And we were doing like this single dot validation without extra calibration every other trial or so. And we were looking at the decay of the calibration precision over the course of the entire experiment, because we wanted to know how quickly that happened. And something that we found extremely confusing, and I still find extremely confusing now, actually, is that the calibration decayed as we expected until about midway through the experiment, and then it started to climb again. It got better after that without any full recalibration at any point. So I was just curious whether you knew anything more about that or had thought about that, because it seemed like the only explanation for that could be that you have the only thing contributing to the model update is
recalibration.
is just the gaze centering click in the middle of the screen. That's the only thing that's happening. And it seemed like to me like that couldn't actually reflect good calibration precision. So it felt deceptive to me. So I thought there might be a problem there. I was wondering what you thought about that.
So yeah, I'm not exactly sure about like how the web gazer, like the base gaze tracker, maybe I should have also talked about that. But yeah, like we are basing ourselves on this web gazer library for other. So it's a very JavaScript library from Brown University. And yeah, I'm not sure how exactly like this is updating this gaze data, how often it's recalibrating, but yeah, definitely like it's collecting new clicks as they come. And yeah, the more you make the subject to click around, yeah, the better it is. And apart from that, maybe, for example, like as the experiment is advancing, maybe it's discarding some old samples, etc. Maybe it's keeping the last 100 clicks, let's say, and recalibrating once in a while. So I'm not sure exactly like how it works in the background, but also it depends on how you measure the accuracy decay or the calibration decay. So I'm not sure if you use the real like eye tracking device to measure this.
No,
not?
we use the
Accuracy.
we use the previous version of the script actually that you you wrote for Fatih. So that's what we used to do that.
Yeah.
So in the end, I just decided to play it safe and to
recalibrations.
To do just more, do more full recalibrations and to not use user interactions in the trials to update the model. So I switched gaze listener off whenever participants were responding to pictures or clicking on gaze centering dots.
That's an option, because the thing is that like when you are only checking with the center dot, you only know about the accuracy of at the center of the screen. And that's like the one place where people aren't really supposed to look. Kind of, and also like the thing is that like I think over time the gaze tries to shift towards the center of the screen in most cases. Like when the accuracy goes down, that's kind of the natural direction, I would say.
Yeah.
Onur, can I just very quickly say something, just so you don't get the wrong impression? I think there's 3 people that has worked so intensely with this before, and everyone else is new to everything. Just making sure that from these sorts of questions, you don't get the wrong impression from the audience, because most of us have never seen any of this before the workshop, right? I'm just want to make sure, because it's rather hard to follow than easy. And so just so you don't think that we're all on that level yet, we're not, at least. Speaking for myself, but
yeah, and I'm sorry, but this is actually
fine.
this is still very important and useful, at least for me to know. So I'm glad I was able to ask Onur about this, because I've been wondering about this for a while. But like, please continue now.
I think since we have limited time, yeah, it would be great. Like, I'm sure we have technical questions too, but maybe limited to, you know, things that might be generally useful to everybody. So that
for sure.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Okay, perfect. So another small question was that like here, as I said, like you have to mostly focus on the eye tracking trial type, but then like you see all these 4 trial types just getting repeatedly here, shown here. But these are just the way the experiment is structured, because like between each trial, we have to make sure whether the calibration was broken. For example, if the subject just goes out of the camera view, etc., we have to repeat the calibration. So these trials have to be here just to make sure that if like it needs another calibration, it needs another camera initialization, which means like centering the face in the camera view, etc. But if you see this part, yeah, so there is this field called already calibrated, which means that these trials were actually skipped because like the system was already calibrated. And this one was all like these ones were already skipped too, but like this means that they weren't executed, let's say. So these are just like ghost trials. They weren't even shown to the subject. And apart from that, like in the validation trial, you can see the calibration precision here. So now it says that it was 60. We can later on think about this, talk about this metric, what it does, etc. But this gives you the calibration precision or accuracy, I don't know. And yeah, that was kind of the basic run. Like now we could prepare the data file, we could run the experiment, and we downloaded the data. And yeah, like this was kind of the end-to-end. And now maybe we can go over, let me close this thing. We can go over some more advanced stuff. So I will switch to the default layout. And let's see. So all the default options, I try to explain it in this main.js file. So if you go here, like you have this, and again, another to-do item, which lists you all the options that you have. So you have the set of calibration points. As you remember, like the calibration was quite long because like we are showing 15 points and you have to click 5 times on each of these points. So like if you want a simpler calibration, you just have to customize this one. And then we have this calibration mode, which is either click by click, or there's also this view mode where you just have to follow along. Like we just show you a target, calibration target, and we assume that you are looking at that target. And some other options, like how many times you have to click the point, some other options for the view mode, and some, I don't know, some more advanced options. So these are the calibration options. And apart from that, there's this calibration validation. Maybe the most important options for you are the minimum calibration precision. So this means this refers to this metric that we had calculated. So here you remember my calibration precision was 60. So this shows you how good the calibration was. And if it's below 50, for example, maybe it's not good enough. Maybe the subject wasn't still enough, etc. during the calibration. And there's also this maximum tries. So if the subject cannot, I don't know, have a successful calibration after 3 times, then maybe it's not worth continuing. And we just say, yeah, like the experiment is finished because, yeah, maybe there's something wrong with your setting. Maybe they are doing the experiment at night without enough light, or maybe the webcam is not good enough. Maybe the computer is too old, etc. And apart from that, recalibration. So as I said, like the calibration can get worse after a while because like the subject is moving slightly and all those movements accumulate after a while. And you can say that, yeah, like after, this is in seconds. So after 5 minutes, you want to recalibrate just in case. And there's another option, which is recalibrating after n trial. So you can say that, yeah, like even if it didn't take like 5 minutes, still just recalibrate every 10 trials. So you can use one or the other one or both of them, however you want. And there are some advanced things that we'll come to later. And if you want to, like right now, the response is just by clicking on the images. But if you want some keyboard input, you can use this like this. So we will also come to that. You can specify here which keys you want to allow the subject to click. So that maybe clicking on F would be choosing the left image and J would be choosing the right image, etc., depending on you. And then we have some control variables. Maybe these are more interesting for you. So for example, this is the gaze centering after each trial. Like this decides whether we want to show the yellow dot after each trial or not. If you think that like it's just a trouble for the subject, you can just skip it. But I think like it's recommended mostly. And then there's this thing which decides whether the subject only gets a single response or not, which means that if they do a response, that they cannot change it again. And whether the response ends the trial already. So for example, like even if the audio is playing, whenever the subject just clicks on one image, is it going to skip to the next trial or not? So if you set this to false, let's say, then this means that the subject, even if they just make their choice, they still have to listen to the rest of the audio. So again, like it may make sense for your experiment. And also there's this thing, whether the trial should end after the audio finishes. So in this case, it's false. When it is false, it means that like the experiment waits for an explicit subject response. And if you make this true, it means that like if the subject hasn't responded yet, the trial will just skip and they won't have any response for that trial. So again, like it may make sense for your use case. And whether the response is allowed while playing. So like whether, for example, when the audio file is still playing, do you want the user to still be able to make a response or not? If this is false, even if they click, like nothing will happen. The response won't be registered.
Onur, if
apart-
that's false,
Yeah.
then they can only click after they hear the audio.
Exactly, but also just make sure like some of these options are connected to each other. For example, let's say if you just say that the trial ends just after the audio, but during the audio, like you cannot respond. So this is kind of contradictory. So you have to make sure that you give the correct combination of parameters.
Okay.
Can I also ask, well, now that you've said they're all interconnected, so you would have to, if you want multiple responses, then the single response would have to be false.
Exactly.
And then if you want those responses to be allowed while playing, then that would have to be true, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
But then here's another question for you. Let's say you want the last click or response to be the trigger for the next trial. How does that work? So you don't want the audio to be the end of the audio to be the trial. So you want multiple responses, but one of those responses will be after the audio ends, and you want that response to be the trigger to move on to the next item.
So that's kind of complicated, and I think it's not handled in this case.
I think that goes beyond the code. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think what I want to point out here is if people did the Gorilla stuff, these things cannot be done in Gorilla. So these things are really difficult to implement within the Gorilla platform. So that's why this is way more flexible in terms of implementation. Yeah.
That's why you could use the script and still run it in Gorilla, right? That's
So you can use
right?
this.
But that's what you need the script for. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see in the end how you can, move this all the way into the Gorilla system and then just run it.
Okay,
Well,
so
thank you.
if you really think that like this is a use case for you people, maybe I can try to implement it. But yeah, like it's, as you see, like there are already 5 options which are interconnected and maybe confusing. I'm not sure. Okay.
No, I think, well, at least this is pretty clear. It's just that if you want to take it to another level, then maybe that's something else to discuss later on. But I just wanted to, kind of.
Yeah, but I think this covers most of what we want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
In general.
Exactly.
Yeah, and apart from that, there are these delay options. So if you want to, for example, delay the pictures, right now, like the pictures are shown immediately and the audio also starts playing immediately. But for example, if you want to keep the first 1 second of the trial just with a blank screen, then you can say that, like the pictures will come. I think this was in milliseconds, but I have to make sure. Just a second. Utilities. Yeah, this is in milliseconds. Sorry, just to make sure. So yeah, this means that like the pictures will be shown after 1 second. And if you want to delay the audio, for example, if you say 1 second again, like it will be 1 second of nothing on the screen, and then the pictures and audio will be just, they will be shown and played at the same time. But if you want to delay the audio a little bit more, this means that like for the first second, there will be nothing. And then for the next 1 second, there will be on the pictures. And after that, the audio will start playing. So you have some control here. By default, it's just at the same time, we just show the pictures and the audio. Okay. So these are the options that you have now, and maybe we can just go over these, but I'm not sure if you want to have a small break before going into these.
Yeah, we can have a break maybe for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. And reconvene at 10:10.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's have a break.
11.
See you in a bit.
11:10.
Yeah, or the 10:10. Perfect. See you in a bit.
Yeah, here.
If you can remember.
Thanks, Onur.
maybe mute.
Oh, it's like 16 other people.
All right, so let's go back. Everybody okay? You know what? If we could go back and can you hear us? Onur, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, perfect. So I think some people missed the first part and some people weren't able to follow like the beginning part where they set up everything. So I think before we dive into the more specifics of the code, Onur, if you can show us like again just how to get to the stage that you just were in, it would be great.
So yeah, like sorry, hold on quick. So first, like you have to download the code actually. So you have to go to this first link that I shared in the email, and here under code, you can download as a zip file all the code. Okay, so that's the first step, and like it's a small file, almost 4 megabytes. And then what you can do is like you have to go to your downloads folder and find that. So here I have the eye tracking experiments. So I will move it to my desktop or wherever you want. So for me, it's desktop, and there was already a file, and I just replaced it. So this is a zip file that you downloaded. And when you just double click it, it will extract itself, and you will have this folder. So as I already did that, like I will delete this new one, but assume that like this is the folder that you extracted. And then after installing the Sublime text, let me close this one and this one. You can just open Sublime text. And in this case, yeah. Okay. So by default, it gives you this view, like you don't have any sidebar or anything, but you have to go to File and Open to find that directory that you just downloaded. So in my case, it was in desktop, and it's this folder. So I will choose this folder, and I don't have to choose files one by one. So when I open it, actually, yeah, so this is it. So I will close the second window. So this is the thing, but yeah, of course, you don't see the files. So maybe that's confusing. But what you can do is you go to View, Sidebar.
Sorry, Onur, can you go back one more? Tell him where you got lost.
Which folder did you select?
The folder, let me close this one. Again, open a new one. So assume you are in Sublime Text, File, Open. It's the extracted folder. So like this was the zip file that we chose, we downloaded. And this is the folder that we extracted. So we don't choose the like subfolders.
Okay, just the entire thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this gives you access to everything. When you open it, you have, let me close this one. You have this view, and then you have to see the sidebar. Like here, there should be all the list of files. To do that, you have to go to View, Sidebar, Show Sidebar. Okay, when you do this, you get this view, and you can extend it a little bit more. Okay.
Is everybody with us? All good? Got to the stage?
Yes.
Yes, here. Until here, you got it. Okay, good.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, afterwards, like we had created a new data file under like this main folder, examples, stimuli, and it was this data CSV file. Okay. And here we had created the ID, picture 1, picture 2, audio, condition, and block fields, and we created 3 trials with image 1, image 2, image 2, image 3, 3, 4. Actually, okay, this was also the case. Okay. So that's what we did, and then we were working on this template file. If you want, you can rename it this one, but for now I just left it as is. And let me see. Yeah, I have to. And I will hide this for now. We are done with this for now. Okay, so yeah, we went over a general overview of the experiment. So it was like first making sure the face was centered on the camera wheel, and then we did the calibration, and then we had trials and maybe different calibrations again and again, etc. And then we could download the data file. So the data file, like which is what you are going to analyze, is like this. So we went over the different columns. We said that this web gather data is what you're most interested in, and it's the eye tracking trial type that you are most interested in. So this is your experiment. This will be your experiment. Okay.
Onur, quick question.
Yeah.
You have two stimuli folders in this code.
Exactly.
Sorry, I might have missed it, but the first one has all the audios and stuff. What's the second one after resources?
So the thing is that like I try to separate it into two. So like the main code is like this head HTML. These are for Gorilla. So this head HTML, main.js, these are for Gorilla. And then we have this, like these are the base ones that I provide, let's say, and the resource is all the code. And the examples is just an example of everything together, okay? So this is for testing locally. So just ignore this for now. Imagine that the only code that you have as a base for Gorilla is the resources, the stimuli, head, and main, okay?
Are the stuff you need for Gorilla implementation?
Yeah, these are the basics. So for example, when you're preparing your Gorilla experiment, you will copy your stimuli under this main folder. Because like you will have to upload all this, because like here this one is only the sample, the example one. Like you want to upload these audio files, these data files aren't exactly what you want. These image files are not yours, definitely. Maybe these are.
Yeah, those. Yeah. But for the Gorilla ones, do you have to change something to make it from Gorilla to like, I don't know, like a normal HTML code? Right.
So this is like that's the thing. So like Gorilla has a specific syntax for the main code. Like this is the main code, and you have to do some Gorilla stuff, and this wouldn't work in the regular HTML.
Right.
So
I see.
like you have these parts. That's why I try to make it first easy to test locally, because testing on Gorilla is a little bit more, I don't know, slow. You have to modify locally, upload again, preview, etc. Okay. So I would. Like if you can make your developments or preparations locally, I would use this folder, put all the stimuli here.
To like try it out, right?
Exactly. And then once you are finished, you simply have to pick up this part, just the script part. Maybe I can put some comments here. You just copy this part and not the HTML, and then just paste it here, like inside the Gorilla function.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
so
understood.
Maybe I will add some more notes in the repository just to clarify this part.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so what else? So I said that like in this main.js, like I try to leave all the default options and all the customization options that you can have. And in these example files, I just used some of them as an example. For example, here I changed the free calibration stuff. Here I put some custom HTML if you want to customize it. Here, maybe some other changes. There are no response buttons. And this one is the template one, okay?
Yeah.
So let's close this example ones for now, like you can play with it later on, but let's continue with this template that we have. So we said that we want to customize some things. Let's go to this, so it's coming in my way. Let's go to this main.js in the base directory to see all the options. For example, I said that the calibration options, the calibration points are there are too many of them. By default, you have 15 points. So these are the percentage on the screen where you are going to see the calibration points. So by default, it's like the 5% and 5%, which are the X and Y coordinates, which more or less correspond to this part of the screen. And then 30% and 5%, which is here. So it more or less corresponds to the points on your screen. Okay, and 95% and 95, you can imagine that like it's the bottom right of your screen. So for example, if you want a different type of calibration scheme, you can customize this. For example, in one of the examples, we have these points. So maybe, for example, I can reuse this one. I'll just copy it to my template and say that I will use these calibration points. So in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 6, 9 calibration points. So it will be 3 points on the top, 3 points in the middle, and 3 points in the bottom. Okay. And what else do we have? We have this calibration mode click by click. Let's leave it for now. We have clicks per point. So like this means that you have to click each target like 5 times until it disappears. So maybe if you want to make it a little bit faster, you can change that one. Either you can just copy it from here. Just one thing for regarding JavaScript. So these slash, like double slash, means that like it's commented out, which means that it doesn't have any effect. So if you want to copy this, you shouldn't copy it like all of it, or you can just copy it. Let's see. But you see that like it's shown in gray color. To make it have effect, you have to remove those double slashes. Okay. So maybe
Sorry,
that's
where
one of,
do you insert? So you have experiment options in
exactly.
the template, and you put it within the square brackets, right?
Exactly. So it's within square brackets. If you want examples, you can see the examples in this example 1, 2, 3 HTML files. Okay. And in this template, I have left this to-do item here for you. So you just need to add any extra options that you want.
Right.
Okay. So which means we copy this one, and instead of 5, we just say that after 2 clicks, maybe it's good enough for us.
Right.
And if you want, you can remove this command however you want. That's it. So now we will have just 9 calibration points, and we have to click twice on each of those. And what else do we have? Like we will repeat the entire sequence only once. For now, it's good. And do you want to randomize the calibration order or not? Like if you remember in the calibration, like we were starting with this top left and then the next one. So it was predictable. If you want this to be randomized, you can also put this one. So just copy this entire line if you want. Paste it here, just after these options. And again, you have to uncomment it, like you have to remove these slashes here, okay? And if you want to randomize it, you have to put true here, okay? So that's it. So now what we changed in calibration is that like we switch to 9-point calibration, and instead of 5 clicks per point, which is the default, we are doing 2 clicks per point, and we are also randomizing, okay? So I will just
stop there. Did everybody know what we're doing now? The ones that are following? No? Did you understand, Malika? No? Okay. So I think here you have to open the main JS page. Are you all there? The main JS on the very left down side, you see there, right? Then you open that. And then you can copy whatever you want to manipulate. So if you want to do calibration mode or there, then you copy that, and then you go to template. Do you see the template that's under stimuli there?
So this is under examples. Under examples.
Yeah, under examples, you open that template. And then you put it in after you have this to do any extra options. Can you highlight that, Onur? To do any extra options, you should have that in your code, in the template. Then you put it in that squiggly brackets.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah. So you just copy it here.
Yeah, and make sure you have the squiggly brackets closed on the very end. So there.
So if you forget this one, again, like you will see that there's something weird.
Yeah, so you'll see an error.
Words, yeah, like it's not in color, so you see that there's something weird.
Was that clear? More clear? Okay. I mean, this will be recorded, so you can go back to it. And
it's just I don't bring my Mac because I didn't expect this, so I cannot open Sublime.
Oh, you can't open. Okay. Were you able to follow? Okay, you guys were good. Okay. All right.
Okay, so we said that after copying and pasting it here under experiment options in your template.html, you have to uncomment it, which means like removing these 3 extra characters here, because otherwise it won't have any effect. You have to remove this, And then you will see that this is highlighted in white or maybe in some other color, depending on your installation. Okay. So that's it. So now you can also change this value because like what we copied was the default value. And I will change it to 2 so that like we click on each point twice. And I save this thing. And now the template is updated and I can go back to my browser to test it. So
Can you show us how to test it on the browser again, Onur?
So yeah. So this was maybe more advanced. So like what I said was that like I actually have a web server, maybe a little bit of internet explanation. So like all the web pages that you access on the internet are hosted by some web servers. Mm-hmm. But when you, for example, double click this template file that you have here, it's not served by a server. So like when you click it here, like it just says done because like some things are not working. So you need, like for testing locally, you still need a kind of simple server. And that's what I'm doing here, which is kind of advanced. So maybe I can go back to explaining how to start this one. But for now, just ignore this one. Okay. But what this does is that like it gives you a server and your URL is this thing in this case.
Right, I see. So this is where you run it in JTOS, Mirta, if you're there, right?
I am there, and yeah,
exactly.
I was
JTOS
wondering whether to mention it, but I do use local JTOS to do all my testing for a script that I'm working on like this. So if anyone is interested in using JTOS, maybe not even to actually run experiments, but just to use it as a local server, because it can also be used for that, you know, get in touch. I can help.
Right, so even if we double click the template now, we just get this start and done thing, and it doesn't actually begin unless you have this local server that you can run it on.
As we said, like you can just see what's going on by just right clicking. Oh, not here, but after when you open it, you'll see that it's not working, and then right click again, and go to inspect. So this is where you will check for any errors. So we go to inspect, and here we go to the console tab. And if you expand it, you will see some errors. So which means that, I don't know, these are some technical web stuff, but it means that like you can't just do it like this. You can just double click. So anyway, and if you have a Mac, it's a little bit easier to run this server because you have this tool already installed, but you have to know a little bit how to use the terminal. So I'm not sure, probably you're not that familiar, but maybe I can also send you a link if, I don't know.
I see. So for now, we can't really see it ourselves on the web unless
unless you know how to use this thing.
Commands in the terminal and it will work.
It'll work? Did it work for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you just need to type Python and server and.
So yeah, like the terminal, just some.
Yeah, but I didn't have enough time to really. But maybe if we can.
Yeah. Okay. So, Onur, can you just show us that? So I think that'll be helpful if we could see our experiment as we code through it. So.
Okay. Sure. So like, or if you're on Mac, you just also have to open up this terminal app. So like you just click on open Spotlight, enter terminal, and you have this thing. So you just open that one. Okay. And this takes you to the, like, I don't know, to the terminal. And here there are some basic commands. So you can do ls to list whatever you have. So by default, you are in your home directory. What does it mean? You are in this directory. For me, it's Onur. Okay. Here you have to go to desktop and then your folder. Or if you had your folder somewhere else, right in your home directory, you can just go there. But in this case, when I run ls to list the files, you'll see that you have desktop here. So what you want to do is you have to change directory, which is cd, to desktop. Okay. And then again, list whatever you have there with ls. You have this eye-tracking experiments main. You have to change directories. And when you write I and you hit tab on your keyboard, it auto completes. Otherwise, you can just write it all by yourself. And now we are in this code folder. When you do ls, you will see that you have the head, HTML, main.js, readme, examples, resources, etc. Okay. And here the command is this thing, Python. I can send this to you later on, and you will have it already like recorded in this talk, but yeah, I will still share it with you. And this starts the web server already. So it tells you that like it starts at the web server at this address. So you just like you see that it's HTTP, whatever. You just copy it and you go to your browser, and this is it. So basically it gives you this thing, but what you want to access is not this page, but you want to go to examples and template. And you are here. More clear?
Yeah. No, I got it. But the experiments is still, I can't do it. Like I still just get this the beginning and the done.
Oh,
Is that correct?
But you sure you access this page exactly?
The version of Python you have in your terminal.
yeah, okay. Well, we'll move on, and maybe in the break, if people have issues, they can consult Onur, and because after the break, we'll try to customize things Onur, right? And
Yeah, exactly. So we can
run it. So it's nice to have it set up. So we have a long break. So during that time, if you can't set it up, please just ask Onur and he can help you, and you can share the screen or something. Is that okay, Onur?
Sure, definitely.
Perfect.
Okay, so now we access this page or template from the web server, and let's see if the calibration changes took effect. So again, wow. Okay. I checker failed to search. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. So like the 0.0 actually maybe wasn't working. So it's local host now. I don't know. Like I hadn't seen this before, but now it should work. So I will keep it in mind and send it to you. I will add some notes later. So yeah, again, now we start with the face positioning. It looks good. And now you see that like it's randomized. So like we didn't start with the top left one, but we start with this one. And after 2 clicks, it's already disappears. So the changes that we did took effect. So that's it. Like so 9 points this time and 2 clicks, and that's it. That's it. So let me do the validation. So yeah, the validation is finished, and now I can continue with the experiment. Again, I choose my response, and then I have to center my gaze. Next trial. You can see that like I can still respond while the audio is playing. Now the audio finished playing, and I have to choose because I need to make a response. That's it. Next trial. Audio is playing. I do my selection. I finish again. So this is done. So yeah, it was a short experiment, but yeah, like we could, what we customized was a set of calibration points. As we said, like instead of here you can see the default values, which was 15 points. And here we only specified 9 points. So if you want more or fewer points, you can just customize it like this. Try to take care about the formatting. So it's a little bit, yeah, like you have brackets, you have another bracket, and then it's like X and Y coordinates. So yeah, if you need help, yeah, we can talk about this. And we said that we want to randomize the calibration order so that it's not predictable. So you don't have to just top left and then a little bit towards the center, then the center, etc. And we reduce the clicks per point. Okay, and if you want to check it, you can go to inspect, and here you will, in the console, you will see the calibration precision. For example, if you see that this wasn't good enough, like maybe if it was lower, it was 50 or something, maybe the calibration isn't good enough. For example, if you change these calibration points and only leave just 1 point, maybe that's not good enough. Probably that's not good enough to calibrate. That's the thing. So you have to find the right balance between length of calibration and accuracy. Okay. And that's it. So those were the first options that we wanted to customize. And if you want, let's try the other calibration mode. So let's see. We said that like this was the click-by-click calibration, which is the default one. But we also have the here, I also explain it, customizations, like we have all the list of customizations here in the GitHub repository. And you have, like we modified the calibration points, and now it's the calibration mode. So by default, it was click, which is like you have to click the points, but we also have the view option. So let's go to that one, okay? So again, I will go to my template, HTML under the examples. And let's check the main.js right in the code folder. Here you can see that there's this calibration mode click, okay? So you just again like choose all the line, copy it, go to your template, and paste it here at the end. Like you have to create a new line at the end and paste it here. And then you have to remove this comment so that like you see that it becomes white. Okay. And then that's it. But again, like as in the case of the experiment options, these aren't, I don't know, totally compatible. Because if you have clicks per point, it doesn't make any sense when you are using the wheel mode. So like let's change it to wheel calibration mode. And this doesn't make sense. You can leave it there. It won't have any effect. Or you can just remove it. But still, like you can customize the calibration points, and you can choose to randomize the calibration order. Okay. So let's try. So now it will make the calibration by like just viewing. So I don't have to click anywhere. Let's see. I will go to my page again. I will just refresh it. And yeah, we are back to the start. So you will now see that like I won't have to click anywhere and the calibration will progress by itself. So let's do the head positioning. Yeah, it looks good. Let's continue. So now I have to follow these targets. So it's finished. Let's see the validation. So that's it. The calibration was successful. So I don't know, like it's your choice to choose between the two different types of calibration. So maybe click by click is easier for some people. Maybe just viewing it easier for, I don't know, maybe old people and people who don't use a computer that much, maybe kids, I don't know. So it's up to you. But there are some other options. For example, for this view calibration mode, you can also change to like tune two parameters. Like here it says for view mode, you have these two. It's the time to saccade. So like, of course, like when you are switching between one calibration target to the next one, like it takes a little bit of time to focus and saccade to the other one. So you have to ignore the first part of the data. In this case, by default, it's 1 second, I think. So like the first second of the, so what happens is that like you show one calibration target and in the first 1 second, you don't collect any data. And then we have this parameter time per point. In this case, it means like how much time like it will actually collect the data. So by default, I think this is also 1 second. You can always check the default parameters from main.js. Sorry. So by default, time to saccade is 1 second. and time per point is 1 second. And here you have the explanation. So for view mode calibration, you just assume that it will take 1 second for the subject. For the subject to look at the next calibration point. Okay, so you can make this longer or shorter, but probably 1 second is good enough. And then there's this time per point, which is like for this mode, you want to have the subject fixate, like look at that target for 1 second. Okay, so if you want to collect more data, you just change this to 2 seconds or more. Okay, so if you want to collect this more, for example, let's customize this one just for showing. So again, like we are in main.js in the base, we just select all the line, we copy it, we go to our template, we add a new line, and we just paste it here. Okay, so again, just like this is in gray, so we just have to remove these parts. So now it's uncommented, and if you want, you can remove these spaces.
Sorry, Onur. Onur?
Yeah.
So these are the extra options, but what's the like stuff like below and before? Have you probably explained it already, but
this part, like all these parts.
Yeah, like that and the one before, it's because this is like the template for everything, right?
Yeah, yeah. So this is template for like local, let's say.
Right.
So when you are checking your experiment locally, this is the template.
Right.
Because
and so the
like,
first part
like
is downloading the resources, right?
So this is referencing the resources. And normally you, like in Gorilla, for example, you do it in this head file.
Right.
So here you are referencing all the resources that you have, all the code under this folder.
Right. So those are the JSPsych packages that you have taken from the JSPsych, right? Okay.
Exactly. So these are the JSPsych, like by the JSPsych itself, and some styling and all the things. And these ones which have the ET prefix are what I mostly created, and I also modified some of these, of course.
Okay.
But yeah, like if you want to go over it, like this is an entire HTML file, which is a slightly different programming language, let's say. So here you make your reference to load those codes, actually.
Right. And then you go to the script itself.
Script, yeah. The script is where we have our JavaScript. So like you have all this part, and then like the closing part of the script and HTML. And if you want to know exactly, like more or less what it's doing, it's like it's loading your translations first. So for your example, so the translations is what I said in the beginning. So like everything,
okay.
Everything
right. So that's where you want to change the languages, right?
Exactly. So if you want to change to Chinese or Turkish or any other language, you have to just change all these. And here, what you have to, I don't know, some important things that, as we said in the beginning, if you translate one thing and just, I don't know, remove one comma, again, you will see some warning here saying that there is something wrong around this part. So it may be just after or before this red part. So just try to take a look at around that part. And if you forget this again, and try to leave these things. So like if you see anything between these brackets, these arrows, let's say, those belong to HTML. So try to keep them in there. Otherwise, it may look a little bit weird or a little bit different.
Okay.
And also, like if you see something like this, curly brackets, it will get replaced by something else. So that's the thing. So for example, in this case, it just says the calibration was not successful in whatever the number was, retries. So for example, if you say that the subject has only 3 chances to calibrate, and if they cannot calibrate after 3 times, you just say that like the calibration was not successful in 3 retries. So this is automatic.
Okay.
It is for the code. Okay.
Yep.
And if you don't want to include it, it's okay. You can just remove it and that's it.
Right. Okay. So that's first load the translations and then go into the trial itself. So that's reading the CSV.
Yeah.
What's the data? That's the,
Data that we prepared. So it's the CSV
okay,
file.
yeah, okay. Right.
So actually, like the code may be easy to understand. I don't know, like you can just try to read it in English. Don't think about these syntax issues, but like it's load translations. And here you have my comments. Like I try to put some comments.
Yeah.
And then you load the translations. You use some utilities to load the data.
Right.
And you set your experiment options.
Yeah.
And then you use the utilities again to prepare some experiment, your experiment, okay?
Okay.
And you receive some output from this, you use it to extract something. Just don't think about this. These are gorilla stuff mostly. And then you need to, let me also add it here. So like these utilities, the prepare experiment thing already returns you the timeline, like the trials that you have for your experiment. But of course, like maybe you want to add some more introduction, you want to do something special before calibration or before the experiment or whatever. Okay. So then you may need to know a little bit about JS Psych, but I think in most cases it's like this. So this is a kind of a trial type, let's say, as we said in the beginning. Like it just shows you an HTML, like a text, and the subject has to respond by clicking a button. Okay. So here you put whatever you want, like your instructions. They can be long or they can be. You can use HTML or you can take out this HTML. For example, let's take them out and see. And here you have your button. You can put whatever you want. So for example, if you want to add another page, so that like, I don't know, you.
Like if you wanted to insert a video there, you would put a timeline with the video, right?
So yeah, like here you can see, yeah, it's a little bit getting more complicated territory, but here you have.
I would, yeah, okay, yeah. But then you would have to download the JS Psych package that allows the video.
Exactly. So like if you want to use any other plugin, you have to go to JS Psych, and here you have everything. For example, for video, you go to JS Psych video, and you have to choose like, do you want to have button response or keyboard response or slider response? You have 3 options. Okay.
I see.
So if you think button is good enough, you choose this one.
Right.
But I don't know exactly where you download this, so you have to go to a little bit more. I will maybe include this thing also. Okay. I will send this link later on.
Yeah.
And there's
the package there. Yeah. Okay.
Onur,
yeah.
Can I ask another very quick question about this?
Sure.
You're using JS Psych version 6.3.1, is that right?
Oh, could be, I don't remember.
Or
Yeah,
at least 6.3 as far as I can tell.
6.3.
Is the version of WebGazer that you're using for this the forked one, the one that the developer?
Yes, the forked one, but slightly modified, because like I had to modify it slightly to detect when the subject goes out of camera view, let's say.
Yeah. Oh, okay, you did that again. All right, but to modify it, did you use the one that you downloaded from the Brown website or from the JS Psych GitHub? Because Josh DeLeo made some edits himself as well.
Yeah, like I took their edits because like otherwise the JS Psych didn't work correctly, I think.
Yeah.
With the WebGazer. So yeah, I had to do I had to get the forked one, which the JS Psych people maintain, and apply my changes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great, thanks.
And what was I saying? Yeah, like, so if you want any plugin, I will send you this page. You just go here. For example, if you wanted to have the video button response, like showing the video and getting the button response, you go to here and you'll see this thing, okay?
Okay, yeah.
But what you have to do is like, you have to click raw to see it in raw. So this is the actual file.
Right.
And now you can just save it. Save pages. You have to go to your folder.
And then your resources. Yeah.
Exactly. Resources and the name is already correct. Okay.
Right.
So this is here. But again, like as we said, like you have to include this thing in your template.
Right.
So here you see that, for example, we are including JSTag HTML button response. So if you want to
okay.
include the video one, you just copy this line, you add a new line, you paste it here. If you want, you can just make it look better, and then you just change it.
Okay, yeah,
Just say
perfect.
JSTag video button response. And then when you have this, like here previously we had HTML button response, and now maybe you can add a video button response. So basically you just copy it, you paste it, you change the type. So now it's video button response, okay?
Right.
But to know how it works, again, maybe it's getting a little bit more advanced. You have to refer to JSTag website. Here it tells you like what's the stimulus.
Right.
So here it says that it's an arrow of path to the video, and you have some examples probably. So it should be like type video button response, which is what we already did.
Yeah.
It says stimulus, like we have to refer to some videos, and then the buttons, the button options, etc. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's very clear. Thank you.
So that was the thing. But in the, if you want to add some more HTML button response, it's easy. So you just say some more instructions, and you accept. For example, if you want to show some conditions, terms and conditions, so I don't know, some other stuff. So we just edit this. So basically, we are pushing at the end of our timeline. We just say that like we have an empty timeline in the beginning, and we are adding stuff to that. We are saying that first we have this HTML button response. We will show this stimulus, and we will have this choice, etc. And if you want to know the different options for this thing, for example, in this case, we have just single option. We can have different options, yes, no, but you have all the options here, HTML button response. And you can also say, for example, there's this thing, maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, you have to check the different options here. So if you want to, for example, not continue when the response is no, maybe there's an option for that. Okay?
Right, yeah, okay, thanks.
So that was it. We are building our timeline. We are adding some custom stuff like showing text, showing more text. And then we basically add the experiment timeline. Like this is actually what the prepare experiment thing prepared for us, okay? So these are actually our trials. So we just add them to the end. And in this case, I just added something for you so that you can download the data when you are trying locally. But of course, like for Gorilla, you wouldn't show this to the subject. So this doesn't make sense there. And then the last part is just starting everything on JSTag. You just decide some things. You have to preload the images and audio so that the experiment is faster for the subject, etc., and some other stuff. So these are a little bit more complicated. You may only change some text here if you prefer, but not much else. Okay. We have these three texts here. I didn't put these in the translations because these are more custom, like they're not part of the library itself. So you can just customize it here. Okay. So where were we? So we tried the view mode calibration, and we customized this thing. We said that like instead of collecting 1 second of data for each point, we can collect 2 or 3, whatever you want. Okay. And that's it. So this was another customization. Let me go to another customization. So yeah, one request that Fatih told me in the last minute was that maybe you want to show some different type of calibration target. So here we have this thing called custom calibration targets. For example, instead of just showing a red dot, you may want to show an image, like a duck image, rubber duck. So what I did was that there's where is it exactly? There was a rubber duck somewhere. Just a second, example, stimulate duck. Should have been here. Ah, yeah, it's not here, just a second. I'll copy something from my own folder. So yeah, we have this cute duck image that we will use as a calibration target. If you want to do such a thing, you have to copy it into your stimuli folder. But as we are working locally, I will copy under examples stimuli. Okay. So I'll just copy it here. But if you want to use it under Gorilla, you just have to copy it under your main stimuli folder. I'll just leave it there just in case. Okay. So again, we want to customize something. So we copy the entire line. I'll just copy it. I'll go to here. I'll add a new line. I will paste it. Like it's always the same. Copy the entire line, paste it here in a new line, remove the comment. And then you have to customize it. So what's the calibration target? We just said that it's called duck.jpg, as you see here. Okay. So that's it. So we did 2 calibrations. We updated the time per point and the custom calibration target. Let's go to our.
That are like with the no, those mean it doesn't matter. Like you.
Okay. So I will start the new instructions that we added. We accept. And let's see. Maybe it doesn't work correctly because I had to do these changes just yesterday, but let's see. Let's hope for the best. And yeah, you see our duck image here. And yeah, I forgot, but yeah, you don't have to click, you just have to follow the duck.
Right.
So that's it. And you see that like the duck is shown for a longer amount of time, like in total 4 seconds.
Right.
And we are skipping the first second and collecting the rest 3 seconds of data. Okay.
Actually, my question. Before, can you make it?
Yeah.
Onur, can you make this like like a GIF or something, or no?
GIF, I think you
What
could,
do they
yeah.
accept? What do you accept as a file?
I don't know, like it's what the HTML accepts, but let's see, duck, rubber, duck, GIF. Let's see. You'll have to see if it works, yeah.
I don't know if it's moving, it might be fun for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That one.
it should be like small, so let's see.
Yeah.
Maybe something like this. Save images. So I will save it under desktop, under examples, under stimuli again. So it will be duck GIF. But normally you have to change the size because otherwise it may be a little bit weird. But anyway, let's just assume that it's correct for now. I will go back to Sublime Text. And instead of duck.jpg, we will use the GIF one. Let's see if it works. Okay.
Okay.
And we go to the experiment. I will refresh the page here if you want. Start. Yes. So this is testing live. Let's see if it works or not. I guess it will. It actually works, but like as we said, the size isn't correct, so it's only showing part of it. Like it's showing the top left or something. So let me do if I can. Let me check if I can resize it actually. View tools.
Yeah. Again,
size.
these are. I'm just noting to the people like who did the Gorilla. These are things that cannot be customized in the Gorilla platform that you can do flexibly here.
Actually, this kind of customize it, but not all of it. So like I have to do it one by one. Size. Just getting a little bit blurry, but yeah. Maybe later on we can customize the size of this so that instead of 40 by 40, it can be.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, again, let's start. This time I think it should work. Not sure. Maybe yeah, there's something.
Yeah, it's fine. We can. This is not that important, but
yeah, it's not there.
It seems doable.
Yeah, it seems doable. Yeah. So what else? Okay, we customized and we switched to the wheel by wheel, like the wheel mode. We changed the calibration target. yeah, now it's not perfectly visible, but anyway. And what else? So maybe like if you want to start, I don't know, or maybe we can go over the rest of the things in 15 minutes and we can.
Yeah, so what, how much, because now I think we, time-wise, we should go on a lunch break.
Yeah.
Do you have any more things, Onur, that you want to go through?
Maybe just these options quickly.
Okay,
So that,
yeah.
like, I think they will be quick. So we said that like after each trial, we are showing that yellow dot to center the gaze. Let's remove that, okay? So again, like I'm in the main.js, I copy the entire line, I go to my template, I paste it here as a new line. I have to remove this thing, otherwise it won't have any effect. And I have to change the default value. It says by default, it's true, like it has to center, but we don't want to do it. So we'll just set it to false, okay? What else? So for example, if you don't want to allow any response while the audio is playing, by default, you allow. So like, let me copy it, the entire line, add a new line, paste it here, remove the comment, and then change the value. So false. So now I won't be able to, yeah.
For the center gaze, where's the parameter that defines how long it stays?
It's here, validation duration.
And so they can press do whatever, it won't proceed to the trial until 5 seconds expire, yeah?
Actually, no, sorry. This wasn't actually like duration. For the center gaze, like you have to click on the target. So like there is no time limit, sorry.
You have to click,
yeah? Yeah, you have to click, sorry. So yeah, like we copied this thing, response allowed while playing, and by default it was true. And we changed it to false. So now I shouldn't be able to click on the images when the experiment is going on. So let's go to our. So now, like with the two changes to recap. So we won't center the gaze after each trial. Like we won't show the yellow dot, and I won't be able to click on the images while the audio is still going on. So let's do the calibration. And with this, I think we can just finish the session. Like the other options are also like similar to this. I'll start, I have to wheel. Validation. So that 5 seconds is controlling how long this will be shown here and not much else. So now you see that I cannot click on these images until the sound is finished. And now I'm allowed to click, and afterwards it won't show the yellow dot. And just skip to the next trial. Again, I am not able to click, I'm trying. And yeah, I can only click after the audio is finishing. You see that it's not even showing you the, this thing around this border, so that it wasn't clickable, and now the experiment is finished. So yeah, like we went over the main options that we have here. Like we went over setting different calibration targets. We changed the calibration mode from click by click to wheel mode. And we changed, for the wheel mode, we changed this thing, like how long we are going to collect data per point. And we customized the calibration target image. And what else? Like we skipped the validation parts for now, like it's more advanced. We skipped the recalibration, we can check it later. And we didn't enter into these advanced options for like showing your own design. So if you don't want to show two images side by side, but show one on the top, one on the bottom, you can change it here, but it's a lot more advanced. And we still haven't enabled like keyboard responses, but we also checked a little bit these experiment flow stuff. So we said that, yeah, like you cannot respond while the audio is still playing. And so we disabled the centering the gaze after each trial. But yeah, again, like you can change a single response to multiple response, etc. So maybe in the afternoon, what we can do is like, if you have some set of images that, for example, if you are planning for an experiment soon, and if you have some images and audio already, we can try to go over and prepare an experiment on Gorilla. So what we can do is like, we can prepare the data file, we can modify this main.js, which is used for Gorilla. And apart from that, maybe we can go do some other more advanced stuff, like if you want to shuffle data, shuffle the trials for each subject, we can go over that. And we can customize some other options together. Okay, so it can be more hands-on if you, so you don't have to install the web server on your machine or anything, but you just need to have access to your Gorilla account.
Okay.
And it's good if you have your Sublime text installed, the code downloaded, and if you have your image set, it's good. Otherwise, we can use these default images like image 1 to 6, and the default audio files, audio 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. Okay.
Okay. So, oh, sorry.
Onur, and is it difficult to customize to 4 pictures per display?
If you know a little bit of HTML, no. But otherwise, it's something that I learned a little bit late, that there was this use case, but maybe I can also add it like in the default, because now if you check my experiment, like this ET experiment, here you have the, this is a little bit more advanced code, but here you see that like for a number of pictures, like just one picture, we have one style. For 2 pictures, we have another one side by side. And for 3 pictures, we have another one. And I can add like 4 pictures too. Maybe it's okay. Okay.
That'd be so helpful.
And where do you say that in the in the template code? Where do you say that it's a 2-picture design?
So you don't have to say anything. So I try to make it as automatic as possible. You just have to define here. Like
Okay,
one,
so picture 1,
2.
picture 2. Okay,
so if you go up to picture 3, it will use the 3-picture design. If you put 4, it would fail by default because it won't have any designs, but I will add it.
I see.
Maybe I can try to edit until the next session.
Yeah.
So if I can do it, yeah.
So that's why the data CSV has to be picture 1, like exactly how it is. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so why don't we take a break? So Onur, then you recommend that people have the Gorilla, do it in the Gorilla code rather than.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because installing the web thing is a little bit different, and they will in the end do it in Gorilla, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So how about so we will take a break until 1:30.
Yeah.
So if people don't have I'm sure most of you have Gorilla profile, but if you don't have it, you can create it for free and have it open, and we'll try more customization and stuff like that, I guess. Right?
Yeah, more customizations and more hands-on. So like we can try to go all together. And if somebody's stuck, we can see what's going on.
Yeah. Okay? Perfect. Okay. All right. So let's resume at 1:30 then. Thank you, Onur.
Okay. Thank you. See you later.
See you later.
Wait, do we have to sign up with some sort of?
Yes.
All right, so I hope everyone's back-ish.
But you're the best.
All right, so Onur, are you there? Can you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, perfect. So welcome back, everybody. So the next 2 hours until 3:30 p.m. We will resume this eye-tracking JavaScript workshop. And we're gonna try to customize a little bit more and try to implement this in Gorilla. Sorry, it's really loud, so I'll.
Oh, yeah, please. Sorry, I forgot. No, no, it's fine.
All right, Onur, so if you could take it away, you're good now.
Sure. So just to, like, as a beginning, like I did some updates on the repository on the code. So if you already had some local code, just delete it and download the latest one, because it includes some changes and some fixes. So for example, now it has the layout for showing 4 images in one trial, etc. So just to make sure that all is good, just again, go to the code, go to here to code and download the zip again, okay? So let's see, I will also delete what I have from before. I'll get the newly downloaded one, move it to the desktop, extract, and that's it. So like if everybody can just download the latest code and extract it like this, that would be great. And in the meantime, I will also show again like how to open this folder in Sublime Text. So again, like when you open Sublime Text, go to File, Open, find where your folder is. Like you have to open the main folder, Eye-Tracking Experiments main. And you will see this empty place. Again, like you have to go to View, Sidebar, Show Sidebar, and maybe expand this a little bit, okay? So in this part of the workshop, we will, just a second, we will work with Gorilla. So we will directly upload our code there and we will start from there, okay? So you should already have access to your Gorilla. I had an account already. And I will go to my projects and I will start a new project, okay? So shall we? Yeah, so I will call it my test project. And yeah, now I have some completely empty project. And probably you are familiar with this interface. You have already prepared, I don't know, tasks, questionnaires, other stuff, experiments. But this time we will go to the, we will create a new component, which is a code editor task, okay? So if everybody can come until this point, I will continue.
You go good? Okay, we're good.
Okay, so yeah, let's create new one. And eye-tracking task, okay? Probably, yeah, we can leave some spaces. But yeah. Okay, that's it. And now it asks you like, how do you want to continue? Like blank, Gorilla Starter, JS Psych. For me, it's better to just choose JS Psych Starter. It will give you some default options, I guess. And I will continue. Okay, so now we have some very basic stuff here. So first, let's go over the components that we have. Here we have the main file. As you see, like it looks similar to what we have in our repository. So in the repository, we have this main.js file, which looks similar. So like there is Gorilla stuff, there is JS Psych stuff, etc. So this is where the main thing is going on. So this is where you will prepare your experiment timeline, like create trials for your experiment. If you want to present some text to the subject so that they accept, they read, whatever, it's all going to be here, okay? Now it's very short because it's just a template that we have. And apart from that, we have style, which we won't use at all. We will have resources where we will upload the code file. We have metrics. We will come to this later on, let's say. And we have some heads. Again, like if you check the Sublime text, we have a file called head.html. So if you open it, it looks similar in format. So here is including some resources, as you see, like JSTag library, JSTag plugin, and some other things. So in our case, like it will be a little bit longer because like we have all the WebGazer components and this eye tracking stuff. Okay. Apart from that, there's also this toolbox where we have to enable some things. Okay. We will upload some images and audio. So we have to enable the stimuli part. So when you enable it, you will see that there is a stimuli section appearing here. And apart from that, all is good. So we don't need to touch anything else. Okay. So yeah, like how do we start? First thing first, we can just open this main.js in our repository and just choose all, like select all, and then copy it. Okay. I'll just copy this and I will go to Gorilla. I'll just delete what is there and just paste our stuff. Okay. So this is the first thing. So we will update the main code and then we will go over like our tasks here. So whatever we want to do, we will do it here. Okay. So the main part is correct. As I said, style, we will ignore, and stimuli, resources are next things. So
Did you get the stimuli? Sorry, I missed that part.
The stimuli, like we will come to that now. So the stimuli is actually your images, like your data set. So like you have to first prepare your data set, like which images you are going to use, and I don't know, like which audio files you are going to use. So in our case, like
Stimuli tab doesn't show.
Okay, yeah, sorry. So like you have to go to toolbox, and then choose your stimuli. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you have it. So if you have your files already, you can use them. Otherwise, you can use what we have under examples stimuli. Okay. So I will click add new stimuli. I will click choose files. And now I have to go to my folder. It was on my desktop. I go to my main folder. It was under examples stimuli. Okay. So here I will choose the audio files. I will choose the image files. Okay, so now I have only 4 audio files and 6 image files. But in your case, probably you will have a lot more images, but just choose all you have. Once you confirm, you have 10 files to upload. So if you're going to use the same sample images, please just upload them now. Like upload 4 audio files and 6 image files. And then click done and you will see them here. So all good until now. And if you want, you can just play the audio files to listen to them, and you already see the images here. So all looks good. Okay. So yeah, I don't hear you, Mikey. I'm not sure if you're telling me something or
yeah,
just
we're good. I think
okay, perfect.
everybody's following. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, then the next thing is we'll go to resources tab. Here we have to upload all the code. So like we'll upload the content of our resource folder. So choose files, go to your main folder, go to resources, and you have everything here. So you can just choose everything and open and upload. In this case, I think you have to have 21 files. So I'll just click upload.
And did we already copy the main code or not yet?
Yeah.
The main we already copied.
I missed that too.
Can you do the main code?
Yeah, I will come to that. So first, finish uploading your resources. So you'll need to see all these like JavaScript and CSS and some other files here, okay? And if you missed the main part, like we were here, so just delete whatever you have here already. Go to Sublime Text again, open your main.js file, and choose all, copy, and paste it here. So you should have these things like something similar to this, like with load translations, load data, etc. Everybody's here already?
And do you advise to ignore errors?
Yeah, for now, ignore. I will try to see if I can actually hide these errors somehow, but yeah, it's because it still doesn't load automatically. Actually, maybe it will be hidden now. So yeah, once you have done the main, the stimuli, the resources, we switch to the head part, okay? So now again, like in head, just choose everything and delete. And go to Sublime Text, open your head HTML file, choose all, copy, go to Gorilla and paste. All good? So yeah, once this is also done, let's switch to the main, and yeah, still giving some errors, but probably it's because like it cannot load it correctly, etc. But for now, just ignore it. And yeah, for now, like this is the base. So now we have to actually prepare our data file, just like we did before, okay? So if you want, again, open up an Excel. And let's try to prepare it side by side at the same time. So what we said, like if you go to this, just a second. Yeah. If you go to the repository, you also already have some explanation here again. So here you have this explanation for the data file. So as we said, like it needs to have ID column and then picture 1, picture 2, picture 3, whatever, up to picture 4. No? And it needs to have an audio file, audio column. So let's do that again. So this is the header. So I will put ID and I'll put picture 1. I'll put picture 2. It's correcting automatically, but I don't know. I think it will be fine. Let's leave it like this. And then, like let's say we just want to use like 2 images. We want to show them side by side. But if you want to have three pictures or 4 pictures, just keep adding some more, okay? If you want to try with 3, just put this one. If you want to show 4 images on each corner of the screen, go up to picture 4. But in our case, like I will do just 3 images. And then there will be the audio. And these are the basic things. And again, like if you want to add some other stuff, for example, I don't know, counterbalance, I'm not sure if it's common, block, other fields, I don't know, like whatever you want. So just put them here.
Do we want to name picture with a capital or small letter?
I would do it smaller, but like in my case, it's changing automatically. So I just ignore, like it will be transferred to lowercase in the code. So in my case, actually, like one is uppercase, one is lowercase. We will see like if it actually changes anything. It shouldn't, okay? So then like we have to fill the data. So now you have to decide how many trials you want to have, which images you want to use in each case, etc. Okay, so I will leave the data here. So let's say that I want to have 6 trials. Okay, so I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as the IDs. Like these should be unique. Let's say it's better for you. And then we have the picture column. So how are we going to fill this? So you see that like we have image 1 JPEG, image 2, image 6 JPEG, up to image 6 JPEG, okay? So I put image 1 JPEG, which will be shown on the left. Picture 1 will be shown on the left. And picture 2, I will set it as image 2. Okay. And which audio file we should play? I'm choosing audio 1 MP3. If you want, you can copy the name of this file and paste it here. Okay. And just keep filling this. Like I will just shift the images one by one. So in the next trial, I will show image 2 and 3. The next one, image 3, image 4, image 4, image 5. In this case, it's important to make sure that it doesn't capitalize automatically. So this one, for example, wasn't correct. These should be, I think, should match. Probably it's also handled by just to be safe. And I will keep finishing this JPEG, image 6 JPEG. Oh, I had an extra column. I had that one. I don't have any more images, so I will set this one and I will delete this one. So yeah, just keep filling your picture columns. And then yeah, let's switch to the audio one again. This is just random now, but in your case, I guess like you already know how to combine the different pictures and the audio. So you should already have this one. Okay, so once you have the picture and audio columns filled, you can continue.
Yeah. Are we good until now? Yeah.
Okay, then there is this thing called, I don't know, like whatever field you want. So these are up to you. Like if you want to randomize or etc. So I don't know what this means, but this is what I saw in some other experiments. Oh, random, some other thing. So these are some other random fields. So whatever you want to add, like if you want any other piece of information, they should be transferred to each trial. Just add an if column and fill it for all trials or some trials. I don't know. Okay. So for example, maybe if you want to add some correct answer thing. So let's say correct response, let's say. We will say, for example, maybe in this case, it will be picture 1 is correct. In this case, again, picture 1. If you have any correct response, if not, you can leave it like this, whatever. This doesn't mean anything, like it doesn't mean that it has a special meaning, but it only means that like once the experiment is finished and you download your data, let's get the example data from here. Yeah. For example, like once you get this data and open it in your Excel or some other thing, you will have it here as another column. Maybe this will make it easier for you to process the data. So whatever you want, just add them here. Okay. And if you are finished, we can just file, export to CSV, like just export it as CSV. Maybe in Excel, probably it's different. Just to export CSV. And next. So now I will just save it in this folder just in case. And this should go to, let me see where it was. I think, yeah, it should be stimuli. So I will just save it under the main stimuli folder, okay? And I will call it data CSV. Okay. So, okay, we have our data. If you want, you can open it up in Sublime Text. I saved it under stimuli. It's here. Okay. So yeah, this looks good. Like there are no weird things. And if you can also open it up in Sublime Text just to confirm that like you don't have extra commas here or in the beginning, something like this. So just clean them up if you have some extra stuff. But of course, like if you left some field empty, it's normal that there are some commas like this. But that's it. All good until now?
Yeah. Are you guys, and any questions so far? No? Okay, I think people are following.
Okay, so the next thing is like under the stimuli, open the translations.json. If you want to translate anything, now is the time. So like if you want to replace these with, I don't know, at least some of these, you can just change to your preferred language. I will change it to Turkish just to show something.
Yes.
I'm not using Turkish characters, but yeah, it's whatever.
Everyone understands Turkish anyway.
Yeah, but again, like just be careful that you don't delete these special things. If you see anything which looks a little bit weird, which is not English here, just leave them there. Okay, so it may be a little bit long like this. In that case, you can just go to View, Words Wrap, and it will show you a little bit, I don't know, different way. So you don't have to scroll horizontally.
How did you do that? Sorry.
So
Can you do that
from
again?
View, Words Wrap. I don't know, it depends on your preference. You might find it more easy to just scroll to the side, but it can be quite long. So yeah, like once you have the translations and the data file in place, let's go to Gorilla again. And let's go to Stimuli. Because like we previously uploaded our audio files and our images, but there are like the data file and the translations are also considered stimuli. So like I went to Stimuli tab, I'm adding new ones. So again, like I go to my desktop, I open this folder, and under Stimuli, I have my translations, my data file, and this audio file, which is used for testing the browser, the user browser, okay? So I choose all these three and I upload them, and that's it. All good until now?
Yeah.
Okay. So just make sure, like at this point, like if maybe go to page 2, my data file is called data CSV. So if you gave a different name, like uppercase, lowercase, you have to change it here. So you go to main, and there's this thing here for loading. Okay. So in my case, like it was data.csv, so I don't have to change this at all. But here also, yeah.
Onur, there, I think you were just about to say we have two different files for practice and experimental trials.
Yeah. Yeah. So like if you have some practice trials, like in some experiments, we had those, like maybe you have some 2-3 trials just to get the subject started. In that case, you have to repeat this step. So for example, we had the data file, and let's just copy and paste this. Just a second. I'm going to desktop, resources, or you can just create one from scratch. So again, I'm going to my Excel. Just for a quick thing, I will just leave 2 trials, okay? So it will be image 1, image 2, image 2, image 3. Maybe in this case, we don't want this or whatever. And maybe there are no correct responses and there are no fields, etc. Okay. So just make sure that like you use the same list of columns here. Okay. And that's it. So like even if you just leave these empty, don't delete these columns. So like I've created this, and like these 2 trials will be my practice trials. So again, like I will export this as a CSV. Next. So I will call it practice.csv and save it under the stimuli. Okay. This is optional. If you don't want it, just ignore this. Like if you think you won't need any practice trials, just skip this part. I will explain you how to ignore it and remove it. But in this case, I created this practice CSV and it appeared here with these things. Okay. So again, I will go to Gorilla, stimuli, add new one, choose, and choose the practice one too. Okay. So I have the practice CSV and data CSV, two things. And if you don't want to have it, just simply, I don't know, like let's first skip it. So like I will just remove this thing. So if you don't want to delete some code, you can just put slash, like 2 slashes before that, and that will just take its effect. But of course, like this is used somewhere else, I think here. But in that case, you'll have to put something here, so like this. So if you do this, it means that like you can also check this from the experiments, like from the examples. If you go back to Sublime Text, open examples, you will see that this line, like prepare experiment, if you search for this, you will see that there is this empty list here, which means that we don't want any practice trials. Okay.
Does it give you errors if you just delete them and you just have trials and experiments?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So this wouldn't work because yeah, like it needs, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Everything in order. So if you don't want to use practice trials, again, just remove or comment this line and change here to this. Otherwise, I'll just undo this. And I will keep my practice trials here. And I will load the practice trials here. So again, like if your practice trials data file is called practice.csv with C, it's good. You don't have to change anything. Otherwise, just put your name here, okay? Whatever you called it. And so let's go over the to-do. So we already updated the translations. So we did this part.
Onur,
So
sorry,
yeah.
Before you go, Brekje has a question.
Sure.
If you upload the data file in Stimuli, it should appear there, right?
Yeah, it should appear. Maybe it's on the second page.
Somehow.
Maybe it's on the second page.
Oh, second page. Oh, here.
So if you want to check it now in your Stimuli, you should have all the audio files, all the image files. And in my case, in the second page, I have translations, data, sound check, and practice. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So we already updated the translations in theory. So we will remove this. And for example, if you don't like anything with the translations, what you can do is again, like go to your Sublime Text, update these translations, go to Stimuli, and again, just re-upload the same file. Okay, you don't have to delete it. You just
update the translations always in the Sublime, and then you have to upload them again. So you couldn't change anything in Gorilla, right?
In Gorilla, no, like it doesn't give you an editor for these external Stimuli or resources. So, yeah. Okay. So yeah, we updated the translations. So like I just removed the to-do item from here. And if you have to change the data URLs or data file names, change them. Otherwise, these look good. So now there's another to-do item. So now you have to decide if you want to shuffle your data. Okay. So if you don't want to shuffle, just remove this, like, or delete this line, however you want. But for example, if you think that, like, let's open the data file. If you want to shuffle your actual, like, experiment trials according to counterbalance or block, this is the place to do it. So you can just say, yeah, like I want to shuffle it with respect to counterbalance first and then block, just do it. Later on, we can see how it works. Okay?
I think in our field, it would be named flipped. So block is like you have 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2,
Okay.
right? And then
Okay,
if
yeah.
you want to counterbalance within that, so it should be
Okay.
intuitively we would think block first and
Okay.
counterbalance.
Okay. As I said, I have no idea about this, like how these work. So
Blocks are randomization within a list.
No, so you could be that as well. So then counter, yeah, that's true. It depends on what you think of counterbalance, but it could be like one list and then second list. And then if you have 3 blocks within that one list and 3 blocks within the 2 list, then the block would come after the list. Does that make sense? Anyways, you have to think about your design, but I think this is important. What comes first right, Onur? Because
Yeah,
it
exactly.
takes whatever the first variable is, and then within the second variable, right?
So for example, in this case, like if you first do it according to counterbalance,
Yeah.
first it will, like shuffle, it will order by this. It will shuffle either like show the first counterbalance or the second. Yeah. Like the first 3 items or the second 3 items. And then it will shuffle according to the block. Yeah. So either the first block or the second. Yeah. You will see the randomization later on. So yeah, like we wanted to shuffle or not. If you don't want to shuffle, just remove all these. If you want to keep shuffling, just remove the to-do item and that's it. Okay. And then now, like there are the experiment options, which we can touch later on. For now, just leave it. And there's not much else. Okay. So now, like here, I left you some basic stuff. So if you want to like go over it, what it does is first it makes a browser check just to make sure that like the subject's browser is compatible, because Safari, for example, has some issues and now we consider it like incompatible, and this should work with Chrome. Actually, maybe in my last test, I saw that Safari could be working, so maybe I will need to update this. But anyway, so it first does a browser check, and then it tries to enter into full screen mode, so that like we use the entire screen. And like it shows some HTML and asks the subject to click a button. So in this case, like we're just saying that, yeah, like this is the practice session and click to start. And then here we are adding the practice timeline. Like here, I wanted to give you all the control, because like here, like you have access to experiment timeline, practice timeline, image files, audio files. You don't have to touch the image files and audio files, but you have the actual experiment and the practice part separately, so that you can do whatever you want. Like if you want to show some messages before the practice, like as in here, you can do it. So in this case, yeah, I'm showing this explanation here, and then I add the practice timeline, and then I add the actual experiment thing. So like here it says that the actual experiment is starting. And when they click start, the experiment timeline will start, okay? And the rest is like for Gorilla and for JS-Psych, so you don't need to touch this at all, okay? Maybe you can customize this message, like the last message that the subject sees, like experiment has finished, thanks for your participation, and this button text, okay? If not, all is good. So now your experiment is ready already. And if everybody's already here, we can start testing.
Onur, one quick question. In the timeline push, both for practice and experiment, you have the stimulus set as the capital experiment. Where is that object saved?
Just a second. So this thing.
No, the one above is the stimulus.
So
no. So you have
yeah, this thing. Push.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah. What is that?
So this is like here, like this is an HTML button response plugin. So the stimulus is just an HTML text. So in this case, basically, we are showing like an HTML with a header of saying practice, and a paragraph. This means paragraph. Yeah. Saying click the button to start. So this is the stimulus. So there are no images or anything.
Oh, but how do they know then that's the practice one?
The subject, you mean?
No, how does this code know where it's?
So like, no, like this is just text. Imagine that like here, like in this trial, you're just showing some text saying that the experiment is
Oh,
like this
right,
can be
and then
random.
the timeline is where the
Here,
practice.
exactly.
Okay,
So
okay,
here,
sorry,
actually,
yeah.
just after that, we are adding this thing. So
Okay, yeah, sorry.
any other questions? No. Okay, like as we said, like if you want to add some introduction text, for example, like here, this is the beginning of the entire experiment. So even before browser compatibility, if you want to add some other explanation, I would copy this thing, which shows an HTML and expects a button response, and paste it here, okay? And then just add all your explanation.
Onur, in line 64, where you say let experiment details, and where we have
Can
can you
you
hear me?
still hear me?
Can you hear us? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yeah. So like it's got disconnected for a short while, sorry.
Oh,
So, yeah,
Onur,
like-
could you please go to line 64?
Line 64, yes.
Here, like, oh, 60 in your case. Does it matter
60.
that the order of arguments like trials and practice trials or not?
So it's important, yeah, like the first argument is considered the first trial, the actual trials, and these are the practice. That's why like if you don't use the practice trials, you just need to send an empty one.
Just a bit counterintuitive that practice trials come after trials.
It's because, yeah, this was kind of optional, but yeah, maybe I can wrap them, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, that was it, and let's continue. Then, like if all is ready, we can start previewing and to launch. Let's see how it looks. So yeah, this was what we put there. It's just some text you want to put and a button that it will show. Okay, so it will just. So now, yeah, like if you're also trying this, you will hear this sound playing. This is just to make sure that like the browser can actually play some sounds, because you can never be sure of these basic things and you have to check these. So in this case, like here, you can also see the translations in action. So the Turkish text got up to here, okay? So yeah, like I heard the audio, so all is good. And in your case, maybe it will also ask for permission to access the camera. In that case, you have to give it access. Otherwise, it will just fail. And in my case, like I previously used Gorilla with this, so like it's already in allow permissions. Now, yeah, it will switch to full screen mode when I click this thing. And it's in full screen mode. You can see this, right?
Yeah, I saw it. How about everybody else?
Yes.
So yeah, like this was the text. So as you said, like this practice thing is actually just a text. So whatever you want to include here. So now I will start, and it will automatically start with the calibration and head positioning, okay? I just click this button. Now we have the usual explanation here. And yeah, again, like here, the subject has to be centered. So if you want to update this description accordingly, like in Turkish, in other language, just do it. And once you are centered, you can just also try this in parallel if you want, just click continue. So I updated these calibration targets. Now they are slightly bigger. And by default, it's like click by click. So I will move this here. So I will just do the calibration.
It took some time, but it's not anything.
Okay. So once you finish the calibration, it's for the validation. I'll just click. And that's it. So now, like when the trial starts, you should be able to already hear the music and see your pictures and in the order that you had specified before. So for example, these are picture 1 and picture 2, because that's what I've specified in my practice trials. Okay. I have to move this thing up. Okay. So in this case, like it was image 1 on the left and image 2 on the right. Okay, and if you inspect this, so again, like if you want to do any, I don't know, checks, just click up. Sorry, like this actually clicked on the image. Well, this click doesn't work. Maybe I broke something with my latest updates. Yeah, I think I broke something. Okay, I will check that. Just a second.
Mine doesn't. Mine doesn't.
Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Sorry, mine doesn't. The images don't load. It's just like after the
Head position calibration.
Yeah, same problem.
But I think I didn't remove the practice thing in the code, so and I didn't have a practice.
Yeah, it doesn't move after the 5 seconds of the gaze in the middle.
Okay, so like if you are not going to use the practice trials, let's go over that again. So first, remove this practice trials, okay? I'll remove this thing so that you are only left with your data CSV and trials here. And apart from that, you can like do a Control F or Command F to search and search for practice. So here we have this practice trials. Just change it to an empty array like this. And what else?
You don't need to do the let practice timeline. Do you need to delete that in line 60?
Exactly. So you have to delete this. Yeah, this is something like that.
Okay, that's probably why.
And then everywhere else
just remove this.
Everywhere else where it says practice trials, you put brackets, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe you can remove this. Yeah, like you can also refer to the examples, as I said, in these examples. You will see that, for example, here it doesn't even access like get the practice trials. It sends this. So this one, you can leave it or just remove it. And try to remove all the practice parts, okay? So now, like there is no practice in my case. But I just have to fix something really quickly. Sorry for that. Just a second. It's in the experiment. Sorry for that, like I just missed something here. Okay, I updated the GitHub repository. So if you go to this one and refresh your page, you'll see that there's this like 11 seconds ago, there was a small fix. But if you want to fix it just manually, I can show you how to do it. Otherwise, just delete the repository that you had and download the last one from here, okay? And you just have to re-upload, go to resources, add new resource. So sorry for this. So I'm checking the experiments, resources, and this ET experiment. So this was wrong. So just update this one, upload this one. Okay. And sorry for that. And once everybody updates that one, you can continue.
Sorry, can you do that again? Because I think some people were working on their stuff.
Yeah.
So, so let's go all to GitHub. Code.
Yeah, refresh the page.
Refresh.
Code, download zip.
Download zip.
And open up the zip file.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, like it's opened here. And either replace this one with whatever you had.
Yeah.
But if you had your data file in the other one, so maybe it will be a little bit weird. But what you can do is just go here, copy this ET experiment file.
Under resources.
Yeah, under resources, copy ET experiment. And go to where you had your files. So in my case, it was on desktop. Go to resources and paste the file here. So you are replacing this file. So just say replace. Okay.
Oh, okay. Or you can just replace the whole file as well,
You can
right?
replace the whole thing, yeah. But like as I said, like maybe if you have your data file here already,
I see.
that would have been overwritten.
Shit. Yeah, I just replaced it.
So sorry for the mistake. But yeah, you already have your data file in Gorilla, so it will be fine.
Yeah.
And once you have this experiments file here, go to Gorilla, resources, add new resource, choose files, go to your desktop or wherever it was, go to resources, and you will see that like this is the last modified file, ET experiments. Just choose it and upload. Okay. Again, sorry for that, but yeah, like next time you are doing this, it shouldn't happen.
Why would they do this?
So I think that you changed some things now, right?
Yeah, I changed
this
something
file.
like during the break and I broke it. So that's it.
But I'm just gonna say this for the sake of recording. When you download this now, after you're watching the recording now, you shouldn't have to do this because
Exactly.
it'll already be updated. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, now like we have the fix in place. So once you upload that file, you can go back to previewing the task. And okay, let me just check. So like here, I removed already the practice trials. So now it shouldn't have anything related to the practices, okay? So I will preview it, launch. And again, explanation, the sound check. I'll just say yes. I'll enter into full screen mode. And now like it's continuing with the experiment directly because like we had removed the trials, the practice parts. Okay. So just click start and start with the calibration. So everybody can see this head positioning now, like if you are following along. So I will just continue with this. And I will just keep clicking on this. Okay, I finished the calibration and I have to do the validation now. Again, I'm hearing the audio and now I can choose this one and I can continue, okay?
And do we have any idea why practice trials don't work?
Why the practice trials don't work? So if you have any issues, just again, right click.
Actually, it worked on me. It just took a long time.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. But yeah, you can just delete it with the new file.
So if you have any issues, just right click and go to inspect. And here you should see maybe some warnings or some errors, okay? So in my case, I only have some warnings, but which are fine. These are, I don't know, some different things. So just clear them.
Who's stuck on what? If anybody, I'm stuck after the calibration, after the
So-
yellow dot.
After the yellow dot, okay.
Yeah.
So what does it say? Like,
Let me see, I haven't gotten that to that part yet. I've deleted, so the images just don't load. The yellow
Okay.
dot disappears and then nothing loads after.
okay.
And I'm inspecting it now. I don't know where.
So right click, inspect, and then go to console. Here.
Console. Oh, yes, okay. So audio file failed to load, yeah.
Okay, so which browser are you using?
Chrome.
Chrome. Okay, that's weird. And
Maybe
let's see. So if you write trials here, or timeline, just a second. I need to, I thought these are visible here. Yeah, let's see. Let me try to go back and understand the issue. It's into configuration. Otherwise, maybe you'll need to share your screen and I can
Yes,
just control it
okay.
remotely.
Maybe it might, who got through it?
Well, I have the same thing as
Do
you.
you have the same problem? Yanina, did you get through it? No? Where are you stuck at?
Yellow dot? Just
Yeah, so everyone seems to be at the yellow dot.
Okay,
Yanina, are you on Zoom?
I don't think so.
Okay, I can be on Zoom and maybe somebody who has this problem can share the screen.
yes. I will stop sharing now. So if you share, I will try to
Okay,
ask for control.
let's see, let me go online.
Otherwise, you can also share your project with me so that maybe I can access it on Gorilla.
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah, that's true. That might be better.
So my,
Okay, so I'll share my screen. Oh, that's my email. So I'm here
yes.
and so this is the code and I deleted.
Some things.
Does this look good?
Okay. Let's see. Can I ask for control on Zoom or maybe not?
Control what?
I can't control your screen, I guess.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, no worries. So first, can we start with your data file, maybe? Or can you open your data file in Sublime
So
Text?
stimuli,
Oh yeah, here.
this one.
Okay.
So it's this.
Okay, so it says picture 1, picture 2.
Is it because audio is capitalized?
So let me check on mine. So mine is also like that. No worries. Like it doesn't affect anything on my side. ID, picture 1, picture 2 audio, it looks correct, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so that's not the problem.
Okay, yeah, can we go to stimuli and go from the page 1?
Yep.
Just to see what you have. You have audio 1, 2, 3, 4, data, okay. And can we go back to the data file just to make sure that, like, not the data file, the Excel that you downloaded.
Data file?
Yeah, that we just downloaded and opened in Excel, let's say.
Oh, okay. This one.
Yeah. So audio 1, 2, 3, 4. This looks good. And you could hear the like browser check sounds, no? Like there was this sound playing.
The browser check sound. That works fine. The browser check sound worked fine.
Okay, and can you scroll up a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're loading the data, a little bit scroll down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no options. Okay, looks good. Sound check, full screen, practice, okay.
It goes from
Continue.
full screen, it shows this experiment message.
It shows the experiment, okay.
Yeah, and then when after, I think that's what everyone's having a problem with. Once they see the yellow dot for 5 seconds or whatever we set, after that, the images don't appear.
And it doesn't do any recalibration, I guess.
No.
Okay, so if you maybe if you can give me access to your project.
Yes.
You know my account, I guess, no?
Yeah. So. And it's in the eye tracking task.
Okay, let me see.
I'll commit now so you can edit.
Okay. Perfect, so I will share my screen. But you have to stop sharing.
I'll stop, yeah.
I'll share mine. So let's do some debugging. It was this web-based eye tracking study, no?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go to this code thing, eye tracking task. Okay, so let's go to edit and just preview it quickly. So yeah, I hear the sounds. I say okay, and the experiment should start here. Actually, okay, it doesn't. Okay, first head positioning looks good.
Yeah, maybe everyone has this problem, so. Good.
Okay, validation. Okay, exactly. So now inspect. Let's see.
Yeah.
So yeah, as you said, it can't decode this data. So let me do some quick check. And yeah, there's another error maybe here. Okay. Yeah, this is not a big deal. So if you run, I don't know, like you don't have to know this, but like I'm just now using JSPsych to get access to your trial. So like there's this function called, let me make this bigger. I just executed this command, just at current trial parentheses. I will save it somewhere, just a second. Okay, so I will share you this file later on. So when I do this, like it tells me that, yeah, like now I am trying to do an eye tracking trial. And here you have the data. You see, like there's trial data and there's something wrong. And the things that like this couldn't be parsed, like because the system was expecting a comma separated file, but in this case it was separated by semicolon.
Oh,
So I guess this is the same in your case. Maybe Excel is doing it like this or some other application. If this is common, maybe I can try to, I don't know, try to handle this case too. Okay?
is it because I saved it with UTF-8 or is that?
No, I think UTF-8 should be fine, but let's go. Like, I don't know. I think you also use numbers to export. Let's see, file export CSV. CSV should be comma separated, but maybe you have some other options somewhere.
Yeah, I think if I created an Excel, did you guys do that too? Maybe that's why.
Maybe in
Yeah,
Excel, like, do you see any options to select the separator character and mark it as comma?
That's good, you have created it.
so there's like a Mac option called numbers, like what I'm using, or you can't see, but what Onur's using now is like numbers, which is like an Excel in Mac. Yeah.
That's what we should use
Necessarily? Not necessarily. I mean, you should be able to do it with Excel, right? As well, if you save
Yeah.
it.
Otherwise, like if you have some issues, so what we can do is like, we can open up data.csv in your file, in your Sublime text. So I will try to make it equivalent to yours. So in your case, like instead of commas, like you have these semicolons everywhere. Okay.
I see.
So what you can do is like in Sublime text, you can do edit and or find, and there's this replace option.
Yep.
So you just say replace semicolon with a comma.
Right.
Okay. And
Then
just say replace all. Otherwise, probably Excel has an option of exporting with just comma as a separator. But if there's a general, like a big problem, I can try to handle that on my side. No worries. So next time the semicolon should also work. Just ignore this for now.
So then if you change this, you have to reload it again in Gorilla,
Exactly.
right?
So yeah, like now we change this one, and if you have a practice trial, do the same here. And just go to Gorilla. So like I will do this change for your experiment. So I will return to configuration. I'll hide this. Resources, sorry, stimuli. This was your data file. I downloaded. So show in Finder. I will open this file, but yeah, I will have to change the name because it gives a generic file name. And I will open it with Sublime text. And as we saw, like there are these characters, and I will replace this character with comma, and I will do a replace all. I will save. I will close. I'll just say add new stimuli. Go to my downloads because it was downloaded there, and this is what I downloaded. Okay.
Right.
So I'll just upload this, and this should be it. And now if I preview, let's see if it worked. Sound check, full screen.
Can we change the calibration point to 5 now? So we don't have to go through it. The next step is to customize the calibration.
So if you want, yeah, let me do it immediately because yeah, like this is taking a little bit long, and yeah. So here, like let's start with the customizations. We said that like you can, like you have all the default options here. And if you want to customize this, what you can do is like just remove this like this. So make sure that you remove all. So like this calibration points continues until here. So now we have all the 15 points. And if you want to remove some, like this is the second column, this is the fourth column. For example, you can remove this. I'll try to remove like the extra commas too. So like, don't just remove this part, remove the extra comma here.
Mhm.
So now the second column is gone, and I will remove this column too. Okay, so yeah, now we have a 3x3 calibration grid. And normally, like we used to ask for 5 clicks per point, and I will just reduce it to 2 so that it's quicker. Okay, perfect. So let me just preview quickly. Continue, start. So now after 2 clicks, like it just disappears.
Right.
And it's only doing 3 columns. Now the validation.
Yay.
And yeah, that's it. Okay. So let me try to finish it up quickly, and then yeah, we can download the data.
Yeah. Do we have a lot more? Because it might be nice to now take like a 5 to 10 minute break and then
Yeah.
come back,
Okay.
so people
Sure.
can fiddle around with it a little bit. And
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect.
All right, so let's
So-
come back at let's take just 5 minute break. Is that okay? 5 to 10? Yeah. So 10? Okay, so let's come back at 2:50.
Okay.
First, no, 250.
2:50.
150.
Yeah.
Everyone's confused here.
2:50, yeah.
How long do you think the
To the calibration where you decided to remove things.
Yeah, here.
Okay, so let's
Onur, Ferhat, yeah?
Yes.
let's move the
Yeah,
let's
maybe with a dot in the middle, I'm not sure.
yes, the
And make sure to
calibration.
commit Yanina so he knows where you are.
So theirs is
So it just,
also
yeah, let's should be.
on.
Yeah, it should be
Yeah.
on, so maybe
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Should I try?
You don't need to commit. Like,
You
well,
don't have to test?
let's see. You don't need to commit.
Okay.
You can.
I would like commit every time something works,
Yeah.
so that it saves a version.
Okay.
And then back to the editor. Go down again.
Have you shared it, Yanina?
I shared it with him, yeah.
Okay, Onur, it should be shared with you now.
Checking. Let me see. Let me share that again.
Yeah.
Did you edit anything else moving forward?
So which project is it? This.
Tracking.
Eye-tracking Onur is the one? Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
I think I will have many tasks here.
Yeah, this one.
This one, the code one. Okay. So again, like first, let's go to practice and data files.
Yeah.
Download this one.
Something.
Download this one. Oh. So
And
I will open
this is
these
just,
two.
This part is
Outline text and see. So it looks good, but you have commas and these are okay. Image 1, 2, 3, JPEG.
calibration.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Which one? This looks correct, yeah.
This is
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
the rest is information, so it's not reading anything from that.
Let's go to here.
Check
Practice data.
sound check is fine. Full screen is fine.
Practice data. The names are matching, correct? And some shuffling. Yeah, I think like you can see that there is here an extra bracket. But yeah, like if you like, let's try to see debug this, like understand what's going on. And when you start this, probably it will already fail.
No, it actually goes through calibration.
Okay, that's weird. Yeah. Let me see. I will try to check the console. Oh, this is weird. Okay. So sources. This will be a little bit ugly, but yeah, bear with me for a second.
Maybe I'm just going to try to copy the whole thing. Something.
Yeah, everything. Funny. Again, edit. Thank you.
No, not yet. I'm trying to copy the whole thing from GitHub again.
Yeah, try that. I think
Actually,
debugging.
okay, sorry. This was okay because like otherwise, if you had missed this one, you would see some error here, but it's not giving any error. So yeah, it was okay, but you had the bracket here, so that was it. But now, like you remove the comma here, so if you create, I don't know, add another option here, then it will cause some issues because like you have to have the comma here. So, but for now it doesn't affect. And what else? Then yeah, let me try to continue with this. Okay, start of undefined.
Let's see from here. So it's fine, but this is just a you have the practice.
Okay, it's playing this. I will clear this one for now. So practice sessions.
Yeah, try to run this and see.
So now it's accessing my webcam. All good. Quick calibration. So yeah, I think the thing here is that like it won't be able to validate because just as you said, like it doesn't, the eye tracker doesn't have enough data to, I don't know, come until this point. So that was one thing, but
because of low precision?
Exactly, yeah. But the other thing is that I don't know why it's failing. Like it should have reached right. So maybe again, like it's another bug on my side. Just let me think. Actually, maybe it was fine. I don't know. Let me check quickly. It takes validation.
Here.
So this should have been 60. Good.
Sure. Try to save it again. And just save and then download.
I'll retry. Let's see what's going on. So you don't have to do this normally, but yeah, again, maybe like when I was doing some last minute changes, I broke some other stuff. So let's see. But yeah, like the first issue is that like the calibration, yeah, like you try to leave just 3 points, but as you saw, like it was only this part of the screen.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Probably that wasn't enough. Like if you had at least left like just a middle row or something, maybe that would be better still. But this one, maybe not.
Because it doesn't even go to the calibration now.
That was weird, and I just copied everything again.
But also, Onur, weren't we saying that for the needle point, we need to click it, or did we change it such that
No,
now?
no, this is just looking. This is validation. But between different trials, you have to click it. So this is another yellow point, let's say, like this is validation. And just let me debug this quickly. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of weird. Yeah. Let me try to open your files again.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, there's this. Okay, so like as we talked, like in the data file, if you include these fields in the regular trials, you should also include them here in the practice ones. Okay. So first, let me try to fix those. So like you have counterbalance block here. I don't know, this here. So I will just add some empty fields here.
I had it this way, and then it didn't work either, and then I changed.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
But yeah, another thing, I don't know what this. I see something weird.
Balance block. Oh, but you don't have counterbalance and block.
Yeah, but this that.
But then you.
That's what he just said.
Yeah, that's why.
That's it.
Yes, I think that's why.
Okay.
Try to go back to the code.
Yeah.
And then there's one with counterbalance. Oh, in the main code,
Okay.
there was some line with, yeah, delete this. So just put a XX there and then try it again.
Okay, let me check one thing. Like, I think the code isn't correct totally. So either it's like the code isn't up to date correctly, or there's some other thing. So I will check this thing.
Best if we, so maybe you can commit this, and then go to settings.
Yeah, I think maybe this isn't the latest code that we like I had submitted. So like there is a small change here. So if we check the same file here, utilities.
Okay.
So what was the problem? Sorry.
So in this case, like as we talked, like in the data file, let's see, like we have these like in uppercase, lowercase, etc. But this only works with some of the recent fixes. So like when I check this code, maybe it was downloaded before. So you see that like here we have this line, but in the other version, in the version that we have here, it's not.
So I guess
like
the lesson here is it's best to just have it always the same.
Updated, yeah. So, or maybe I also updated this thing, I'm not sure, but yeah, I think this code wasn't updated after. I don't know how that's possible, but yeah, the code simply wasn't updated after the break, I would say. So let me see, like I will just download everything again, like the latest from this code. Download zip. So it's in another folder in my downloads folder. So I will edit this. I will upload the new resources. It was in my downloads folder, and it was this main tool and resources. I will just update everything. Okay. So this is the first thing, and the other one is just to make sure I will update these two. So like as you remember, like here there wasn't the other field and correct response. So I will just hold them here. I will, so this one was the practice. This one was data, but yeah, I have another file with the same name. Okay, so I will also update this in the stimuli. They were in my data file, data and practice. Okay, now it looks good to me. I will do another preview. Actually, even now, like I can check if it's fixed already. So if I get, actually, maybe not yet. Anyway, let me try to continue. Yeah.
Ooh.
So yeah, now it's working.
So Onur, can you summarize the problem with Yanina's code?
So the problem was that like the code wasn't updated. So like there was like this code was a little bit old, like it was probably
the
from
one
the
you
morning.
told us to update.
I asked to update the ET experiment
Okay.
because it was the latest fix, but this code was also updated during lunchtime, let's say. So,
Okay, thank you so much.
no worries. So I will just commit this one. And also again, just to make sure like the data files and the practice files should have the same columns. Okay, so here in the practice, other field and correct response weren't there. So I just put them there.
Okay, maybe
So
Brechia try doing that.
The updating.
Yeah, so update all the resources and also make sure all the columns in the practice trials are included in the experiment trials as well.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, so I just committed the changes and you can keep working on this.
So the things to reload are on the resources.
Any other issues?
So you have to download it from the GitHub again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But then
Downloads it.
But just replace the two things, right? Because otherwise we have to make the data thing again.
Oh, you just
Right?
you just do the resources.
Oh, the whole resources. No.
Yeah,
folder.
you just copy and paste the whole resource.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's another debugging, but let's move on for now, and then maybe right here in the end we can ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, I can continue maybe with.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, maybe all the other customization that we could do.
Exactly.
Perhaps. Yeah.
So yeah, like what else did we have? Like maybe we can talk about this recalibration flow. So as I said, like as we talked, like the calibration doesn't stay perfect during the whole experiment. So you have to refresh it once in a while. So by default, like it refreshes every 5 minutes or every 10 trials. So if you want to, I don't know, calibrate more often or less often, for example, I can say that you calibrate after 2 trials and calibrate every minute, like whichever comes first. So like if one trial takes more than 1 minute, then before the second trial, it will already try to recalibrate. But if they are quick, like if each are 10 seconds, maybe it will recalibrate after 2 trials. This is the thing. And what else? So another thing is, yeah, response, like we check this, I think, is whether you want to allow response while the audio is playing or not. And pictures delay and auto delay, we can play with this. So we can make that first, in the first second, you don't see anything. The pictures are shown with a 1 second delay. These are all in milliseconds to give you more precision. And the audio starts like maybe after 2 seconds in total. So the trial will start. After 1 second, the pictures will be shown. And after 1 second more, the audio will be played. Okay. So let's test these two. Private task, launch.
Onur, and in your experience, how good is like JSPsych and Gorilla in terms of like if you tell it 1000 milliseconds, will it actually show at 1000 milliseconds or 1000 milliseconds plus a little bit of delay?
A little bit, yeah, like generally, yeah, there's a little bit of jitter all the time.
But it's
So
more
you
or less
can-
consistent?
Yeah, definitely.
That's the one you download.
It's not like it should be milliseconds of difference, not much.
Where does he download them? Can you? No, I put it.
Yeah.
So now I can also finish the experiment all the way and we can download the data and check it again. Because there's one more thing that we need to do actually in Gorilla.
I moved it to this.
Oh, right, okay. They can just like download.
So yeah, I just said that after 2 trials, it should recalibrate. So this is the second trial, and you see that it's already calibrating.
Not bad. Good.
And otherwise, like if I take too long to finish the trials, it will even recalibrate after 1 trial. It depends, okay?
It doesn't, it's fine, yeah, it doesn't matter, yeah.
So it's on for the code.
Yeah.
And maybe one more thing that you have to know about like how this behaves is that like if I move if I get out of the camera view, it will automatically like at any point of the experiment, it will just say, yeah, like you lost the calibration, you just need to recalibrate. So it will take you to this screen again at any time. Even here, I don't know, like for example, if I click and if I get out of the camera view again, it will just keep on repeating all this. And yeah.
Funny how the continue button is in Turkish. Devam.
Say it again? How do you pronounce it?
Devam.
Devam.
Tamam is finished, complete.
That's so funny because in Serbian we use tamam.
So
It's me.
yeah, let me finish the experiment quickly now.
And that's actually good learning.
Once really. There's no one else on.
Okay.
I was gonna say if there's anyone on Zoom who wants to
Yeah,
ask any questions.
Okay, so again, the experiment is finished and let's check the data file. You can either download Excel or CSV. So yeah, like you have all these, but surprisingly, like the data is missing because like normally we need the gaze data and we need other stuff, but like in Gorilla, you have to define them explicitly. So we have to go back to our editor and I will show you how to declare them. So now, for example, you see that you only have trial type, trial index, elapsed time, etc. Okay. And this is because like here, we actually have something called metrics for Gorilla. So it only records like these data and nothing else. And in our case, like in the repository, I also explain it. Metrics, yeah. So it says that like you have to define your metrics so that like you can actually collect them. And what are these that we are defining? So let's see. I will go to my data file. For example, here, I said that you can add any columns that you want here, and they will be delivered to your Gorilla data. And yeah, so now first we have to add these if you want to keep track of them, if you want to receive them in your final file, like data, okay? So let's go here. it was counterbalance, but try to make it all lowercase. So it does counterbalance. If you want to give the title, put it. And then we had block. Again, lowercase, always. I had correct response. Again, lowercase. Yet other fields, just some random stuff. Okay, so these are the fields, the ones that are coming from this. But yeah, still like these are the extra fields, but we still need the ID, picture one. So yeah, there's no automated way to do this on Gorilla, unfortunately. So I will have to do it one by one. I had ID, picture one, picture two, audio, and the rest were already there. Okay. So these are the metrics that you need to define. First, all the columns from your data files, which we already did. Okay. Then start time. So let's add this here. So in the end, there will be a lot of metrics. And responses to get the user responses, like which images they chose and at which time. So then we have like picture and name, picture and bbox. So like these are just to get the names of the files and the bounding boxes. So I have two images, so I have to repeat this twice. So yeah, in parallel, please also try to go over this. So like first add all the columns from your data file, but in lowercase. Here it's important that it's in lowercase. So then at the picture one name, picture one like underscore bbox, picture two name, picture two bbox. So yeah, those are also done. What else?
Yeah. Anybody?
Why do we need to add bbox?
Bounding box, like as I said, like you first have the gaze data from this metric, but then you have to know what it corresponds to on the screen, because like in this case, for example, if there's an image on the left side and another image on the right side, you have to know exactly where those images were displayed, because you can never be sure. Just for that, yeah.
It gives you the X, Y coordinates and the width and the height. So you can calculate from that what the areas of interest is. Yeah.
And why we need name again? Because we have picture one.
Yeah, so this is optional. So like picture one, you will see that like it's actually a path. So for example, let me open this thing. I had some old data from some other things. So this isn't from Gorilla, but more or less. So for example, picture one has this thing, like it has a path, complete path, okay? But picture one name is just this one. So if you want to, it's more or less the same thing, but just a little bit more cleaned up. And as we said, the picture one or two bounding box is something like this. It tells you exactly where's the top and bottom and right and left side of the image. Because like this changes depending on the subject's computer. Like if it has a full HD screen, it will be different. If it has a 4K screen, it will be different. So you have to be able to map the gaze data to picture bounding boxes. Okay. And then there's the start time. This is with respect to the start of the experiment, and the responses. Like the user collects picture one at this time, and this time is relative to trial start. Okay. And then you have the backgazer data, as we talked, and this isn't important. Backgazer targets and already calibrated is also important.
And Onur, so for backgazer data is our data, right? So these are like the looks or the fixations?
Exactly. So these are the gaze estimations. Exactly.
And so now it gives like 8. Is there a way to define how many we sample?
It's not 8, like it's not giving 8. Like
it's a arrow or rows of
data.
things. Yeah.
It's quite big. So as I said, like in my last.
But it's automatic. Like we can't customize this.
Thank you, Fatih. Thank you, Onur.
But like, how do you want to customize it?
I would like to set the sampling rate.
The sampling rate, no, like it's kind of like WebGazer does it automatically.
Okay, thank you.
So I can try to get the maximum out of the machine.
It's similar, right?
So like in my last email, I sent you this link.
Longer, you might end up having more.
JSON formatter. If you want to see this data a little bit more cleanly, again, like just copy it. It's quite big, so it may take a while. And paste it here, and when you hit process, you'll get it a little bit more nicely formatted. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we have the analysis script on R to no, from Martin to clean it for the processing analysis.
And is the output file of this similar to the Gorilla one?
Very similar, but the first data wrangling part is different because in Gorilla, when you did it in the interface, it gives you in a long format where you have the time, the x-axis, and it goes like from 0 to whatever, right? Whereas here, it's in a long format, kind of within one column.
In a wide format?
This is wide because in each trial, all the data points are within one column, right? So you have to do a little bit of data wrangling, and Martin has that code.
So we have like 2 different scripts for Gorilla and for WebGazer.
All
For JS.
Yes.
Like,
Yes, the until the pre-processing part. The data wrangling part's a bit different, but once you have that nicely formatted data, then the analysis same. Yeah.
I don't think Martin has shared the script part with you yet, but it's ready.
We can share them. Yeah. Okay, Onur, sorry.
So yeah, like, have you all declared your metrics here? So if you go over it, so it's all the fields that you declared in your data file. In my case, I had counterbalance, block, correct response, other fields, ID, picture 1, picture 2, audio, and then this picture 1 name, picture 1 bounding box, WebGazer data. So you have the full list here, okay? In the repository.
Yeah.
So all the columns from your data files, but in lowercase, don't forget that. And then these. And these are, of course, like picture 1 name, picture 1 bounding box, etc. So once I declare all these, I can just do another preview, and this time in the downloaded Excel, we should be able to see all of them. So again, this is the validation point, so you don't have to click. It's just looking at it. But then after the trials, it's like you have to click here. So yeah, unfortunately, I had the option to recalibrate episode trials on, so it will take a little bit longer. Otherwise, at least in Gorilla, you can just skip remaining trials. And yeah, jump to this screen. So now if you open this data, it should look better. So now you see that, oh, these are weird. Yeah, sorry, like, it's because like I was too lazy to fill these fields. Sorry for that. So in the metrics, actually you have to, I thought it was optional, but you have to put the title here. The title is what's output in the CSV.
Right.
So yeah, let's do this quickly. But yeah, you get the idea, I guess. So the data is there, but if you don't see this, just you have to fill the friendly name, like here, the title. And apart from that, yeah, what do we have here? The picture one. Yeah,
I guess if you mess up the key, like if you like misspelled it and stuff, it just wouldn't come out, right?
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So here you have, for example, like this was the difference between image picture one and picture one name. So this is picture one. So like Gorilla changes it to like URL, let's say, a path. And this is image two. And this is audio. And this is some other thing. And this is the responses. So like I click picture one at second 2, picture one at second 3.5. And this is the name, picture one name.
Did you code it so that the reaction time is in seconds, but then the eye tracking is in milliseconds?
I think, yeah, because eye tracking was kind of handled by WebGazer, so maybe I should standardize that one.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really, I mean, I think for eye tracking, it's nicer if it's in milliseconds. For reaction time, and we could just divide it by 16. It's fine. It's not that important. Just wanted to point it out for some people.
Yeah, and apart from that, like here you see the calibration precision, like this field was the calibration. So it was 60, the precision. It's weird that it's always 60, but yeah, I will have to check that if there's anything weird. And this was already calibrated. So this means that like here, these are actually calibration trials, but it was skipped because like the subject didn't lose the calibration at that moment. So this was actually trial type of calibration, okay? So like in your analysis, you have to focus on the eye tracking fields, and these only, maybe you need to check like if it was skipped or if it was already calibrated. If it was already calibrated, you just have to ignore this, okay? In your analysis, these and these. But for example, in this case, this wasn't, actually this wasn't. So here, actually, there was actually calibration. And there was validation, okay?
Are you saying it
more or
shouldn't
less
be,
I don't know.
Sorry, Onur, are you saying it shouldn't be 60 because it's kind of,
it looks kind of static. I don't know, like normally it changes like 60, 65, etc. But it's a little bit weird that it's always 60. So I will have to check whether there's anything, I don't know, wrong. Because yeah, like I had to modify a lot of parts of this code, and maybe there are some small issues. And yeah, like I will update the code and write you a final mail saying that. Like,
yeah, maybe because we set it at 60, it just puts 60 if it's over 60.
Maybe that's the thing. Yeah, maybe like it's writing the wrong data here. So it's instead of the calculated data, it's using the limit or something. So probably there's a small issue like that.
okay.
But yeah, nothing else on my side, I guess. So as I said, you have to update these, and you have all the other options here if you want to keep playing with this.
Onur, can we do one last debugging with Brecht's
Sure,
code?
sure.
That's okay. So she already shared it with you.
Which one is it? This one or no?
That one, yeah.
Okay.
But
you
you
have
have
to-
changes, you need to update the.
Okay. So let's do the debugging first, like by just checking. So I will download the practice and this one, and I will open up these. Okay. In Sublime Text. This is just the first thing. So it looks good partially. So the thing is that like here you have these columns like ID, picture 1, picture 2, audio, and then you have some counterbalance and block, but they are not output here.
Okay.
So even if they are empty, like you should have these here.
There you go.
So if you open it up in Excel, probably it will also, I guess, it may give you some error. I don't know. Otherwise, let me export it as CSV. Okay. Downloads, and I will overwrite. Okay. So now if I open this up here, you will see that like normally when you export it, you have these parts here. Otherwise, if you're not going to use them, just remove this here or from your Excel. Okay, so this is it. Let's remove them from here too. So now it looks better. You only have ID, picture 1, picture 2, audio, and that's it. Okay, so let me upload this. I'll delete some of stuff from here. This is the practice, I guess. It's shorter. And this is the actual data, which is slightly longer. I'd love to edit. You are already editing this one, so you need to publish.
I shouldn't do that, right?
Yes, so you need to.
I just delete it.
Okay, it's committed now, so I think you can.
Okay, yeah, I see the 6th version. I'll edit this. Again, stimuli, add new one, choose files. It was in my downloads folder, these two. Okay, now those look fine. And let's see what else. So yeah, you are using practice and you disabled this, correct? Because like you didn't have anything in your counterbalance or block. And you don't have any special options, I guess. The rest will be fine. So let's try.
So that was
Already. Yeah, but I never got to the picture, so let's see if that's.
see. But if the color, yeah, because the calibration didn't even
Before
work.
the calibration was working, but I didn't get to the pictures.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I must have missed that, or I wasn't listening. Either is possible. So the calibration points
Oh yeah.
look in order,
Yeah, so I think this is working now.
like they all come in order
you.
right before. when
Yeah,
you
but
do
you
the-
can, there's a
you randomize it,
randomizer, yeah.
So everybody knows.
Yeah. You can randomize it.
Is it better or worse?
I don't know, really.
For calibration.
Onur?
Yeah.
So the first or any point when you have to calibrate or recalibrate, those calibration points that you need to click appear on the screen in a very neat order, right? If you don't randomize it.
Exactly.
So is one better than the other? Does it matter?
Oh, well, it depends. I think for me, I would prefer just, I don't know, a nice order, but I don't know, like, I don't know. So maybe, for example, if you are having view by view, like the view mode, maybe the user may try to just, I don't know, advance beforehand or something. I don't know. So it's depends on the use, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you can, but you can't randomize it, right? If you had, here's another question for you. How would you create blocks for this calibration where any individual who ends up doing the experiment can either calibrate with an order, and someone else randomly can calibrate without an order?
So yeah, like you can just do a random, let's see, this is a little bit more JavaScript stuff, so I will have to refer to maybe some old code that we had around here.
Yeah, that's my code.
I'm checking your codes, yeah. I'm not sure if this is the old one.
Yeah, that's the old one.
So let's see, there was this randomized function.
In mine, it's randomized.
So this is it. So like you just choose one random thing. So this generates you a number like with 50% probability 1 or 50% 2. So then you can just say that by default, or I don't know, this is a little bit JavaScript, or maybe you can also do the same like this. Calibration randomization, like 50-50 chances, like either it will be false or true. Okay.
All right. Okay.
And then you can just say randomized calibration targets and put that variable here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't remember any of it, but
There's a video, so.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any other final questions? I mean, there's.
It's just us, right?
Thank you so much, Onur.
Thank you. I have final question.
Yeah, sure.
How do you change the picture size? Like
Picture size. Yeah, maybe that was another advanced thing that we didn't enter now, but let's open it up. Yeah, like this is like most advanced parts maybe. So like in the examples, in one of the examples, actually we have it. So like here in example 2.
Okay, this is the code, yeah.
HTML. So like if you know how to deal with HTML and CSS, you can do this. But basically we have this parameter custom HTML. What you can do is you can find the original ones here in ET experiment. So now there are 4 different HTML. So if you have just one picture, it's this one by default. If you have 2, it's this one, 3 and 4. So like if you have 2 images, for example, just copy this one. So maybe I can do it here. So the custom HTML is here. So I just uncomment that one and put this thing here. Okay, so this doesn't change anything at the moment. I'm just sending the default value to the same thing, so it doesn't change anything. But if you want to make it, if you know a little bit CSS, you can do it like this. You can leave this one here. So this will make sure the images are aligned to the edge. Okay, so that's the change. And also let me just change this one. Okay, looks good. So let's just calibrate.
So this is 2 pictures still?
Yeah, 2 pictures, but only like I made the images bigger and more closer to the side. So I removed the padding. But yeah, for that, you really have to know HTML, let's say.
Yeah, it's a little.
Or even before you upload the pictures on the system, you can size them.
No. Like the images, like HTML works a little bit differently. So it just tries to fit the images into the allocated space.
It's like Gorilla.
Yes, but if all the images are the same size.
No, but the images, if it's this, then it just expands.
Oh, you mean, all right.
So now, now you see, for example, like
I mean, this is the adaptations side of things, right? So it just zooms in and zooms out depending on how you define it. But the shape, the actual shape of the pictures that we're talking about, because one is more square and the other one is more rectangular. I think that I'm sure those are the things that you can also do with some code, or alternatively, even before you do anything, you can do it on a one of the platform.
Yeah, but whatever changes you make to the pictures itself in terms of size doesn't matter, right?
So like here, let me show you this thing. So like here, when you go to when you right click this one and go to inspect, you will see that picture. So here, this is called the container, okay? So the image tries to fit itself into this container, which is a div element, okay? So when you hover over this, you see where exactly it's occupying in the page.
Right.
So now this blue part and the green part, let's say, are your limits. You cannot go over that. And for the right image, it's something like this. So even if the image is a lot bigger, etc., it's constrained to this thing.
Right. Yeah, I think this goes, I'm sure some people might want to do this, so I asked, but yeah, I think you have to really know the code and dig into it a bit more deeply to do it. But okay. Thank you, Onur. Are we good? Yeah, since we're already over 15 minutes. Yeah.
Any more questions?
So you can set coordinates for the pictures also with HTML.
What do you mean coordinates?
Like place them in their quadrant.
So that's what we were talking about with where it is. Like now it's set at a specific coordinate that Onur specified in the code. But if you want to change it, you have to know the HTML code to change it.
And you do it for not for individual pictures, but just for that. You do it once per quadrant.
In the code, yeah.
And then it reads from the
But what we were saying is that it doesn't matter if you make the pictures big. If it's like that, then it'll just adjust to whatever the frame is. Yeah. Okie dokie.
Any other
Are we
questions?
good? All good. I think mostly this is a lot, I think, to take in for a lot of people. And I think people will look back at this video a million times. Yeah. So I think that was our whole point. So, but I want to give thank you to Onur and thank you for doing this for us. And if it's okay, we'll share this video with the more wider audience, if that's okay, Onur.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And as I said, we can talk about later on, changing the ownership of this library, of this code, etc.
Yeah, we'll do that as well.
We have a GitHub page now, so at some point this will be put on that, so that it has some identity and everything.
Yeah, and as I said, I have to apply a couple of more fixes. So I will send you one final email saying that I resolved this, and if you are starting a new project, get the latest one all the time, always.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Before Maki stops recording, let's thank Maki because she's
Thank you.
and Onur, of course, thank you very much.
Thank you, Onur.
For all this. We'll keep bugging you. So
so for the people watching video because they downloaded the code, if you have specific questions, it's depending on how busy Onur is, but he's also been doing personal consultation for us. So please contact him if you need any personal issues.
We'll have to come up with a plan for that because we can't expect everyone to
contact him. But we'll think about it.
We'll figure that out.
But this I think was a good introduction for many people.
Very useful. Thank you very much, Onur.
Thank you,
Okay,
Onur.
thanks very much.